Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to GameFace, episode 483, right here on SIFTD at SIFTD.net. We have a banger of an episode for you guys this week. 3 days in the making, 2 days in the making. We've had to delay the show a couple days, but it's only made the episode stronger. We're going to blow out, not E3 2026 / Summer Game Fest 20, whatever the heck you want to call it at this point. We're about to blow it out. And of course, alongside me to do that, as always, is Matt Kyle. Matt, I was trying to figure out, before the show started, how many E3s have you and I blown out together?
Well, I've been to 21 of them.
Yep. So we did 7 together when I worked with you before I left and went to Game Trailers. And now we've done, so like 20 roughly?
Probably.
That's crazy.
Because I did, yeah, because when did you, was it 2001?
6. Well, when I started with you, it was like 2001, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, so definitely
5 years there.
02 through 06.
Yeah. And then another 13 since we, almost 20 E3s Matt and I have covered together, which is pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. I know you may be sitting there like...
You're around when we started doing the live stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So
I appreciated Schreier's like rundown on why E3 isn't needed anymore and why it really ended, which I agree with him.
I actually didn't see that.
It was a pretty quick thing, but it was mostly about how, like, what I've said for years, which is like, it was the main purpose of it was to court the retailers and distributors, and you don't need to do that anymore because retail doesn't matter anymore and hasn't for a while, and that's why it doesn't. You don't need to do that, so nobody thinks there's any worth spending that kind of money, and everyone's addicted to the direct format now. But he messed 2 things up. I thought he seemed to credit live streaming to a lot of the change to the direct format, and I'm like, no, that was G4. We brought press conferences into the house the first time, and I'm not going to let go of that.
Yeah, we did the press conferences live on G4 first.
Years before you could watch them anywhere else.
Yeah, and then I went to Game Trailers and we did it on Spike, and that was it. It was on Spike and G4 at the same time.
They did dual.
And then we were doing live web streaming. We did that first at Game Trailers. And I think we got like almost 1 million people on our live stream for that. And then over time, everybody started copying GT like they did with everything.
As that all became affordable for non-mega
corporations. Because at first we invested a ton of money in web streaming. Like we would roll in with these Pelican cases the size of like school buses to stream stuff. And that was too expensive for most outlets. And then once the gear prices started coming down, then you started seeing everybody else.
It was a shift of, like, back in the day, there were only 3 of us with camera crews.
Yeah.
It was us, there was Vic Lucas, and probably, like, GameSpot.
Maybe, or IGN.
IGN had them. And then eventually everybody had it. I remember some year, like 07 or 08, and I was like, everybody's got a monopod. Mm-hmm. Everyone had a tiny camera on a stick.
On one stick.
And then, like, the live streaming was the same. We already had the broadcast thing in place, but then, you guys brought in the live streaming, and then, like, 2 or 3 years later, everybody was doing it.
Yep.
But early on, in order to get into that and do it in any kind of, like, accessible or functional manner, you had to have a lot of money invested in it.
Yeah.
But that is what, it's like, do not erase... Because you and I specifically, I personally fought hard to broadcast the press conference. I remember sitting around being told... No one cares about these press conferences but you guys.
Yep.
And we're like, no, this is literally where all the news comes from. Because there was the belief among the, let's be honest, non-gamer executive wing was that the only things anybody cared about at home was the show floor.
Well, I think the executives at G4 thought that all people cared about were the hot chicks in our talent. I think they thought people showed up to see Morgan and all the other girls that were on the network.
Well, also the hot chicks on the floor of the
booth babes,
but there were people who should have known better.
Oh yeah,
who were saying nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the press conferences. They're boring. And it's like, look, they were kind of boring in the sense that they were mostly like business presentations at the time. But as soon as we started, exposing them to the world, they started
spicing them up because they knew weirder. They're like, oh, we're on TV now.
And weirdly enough, one of the best people doing that was Reggie.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo, while they were, I don't think anyone would ever point to the Ravi Drums incident as a great
Wii Music
piece of PR. Like Reggie was the most watchable man on a stage in all of those things, and I think about that every time we see a Nintendo Direct now, where I'm just like, they're never gonna have anything as good as Reggie ever again.
No, and we'll get
no
to
one's
Nintendo.
body is ever going to be ready.
Yeah, their new president.
No one's body is ever going to be Reggie.
That's true. Well, anyway, we probably need to explain at least a little bit why we're doing the show today on Thursday instead of our usual Tuesday. So what happened was Monday out of nowhere, and we kind of had a hint that it might happen, but Monday out of nowhere, Nintendo announces that it's doing its not E3 Direct the next day.
They don't like to give a lot of notice these days.
It's silly.
They did that with that other thing they just did, too. Was it the Pokemon thing?
Yeah. Yep.
It was like, no, just go. Like, to tune in, like, 20 minutes from now.
Well, Star Fox,
that's right, yeah.
So anyway, Nintendo announced, like, on Monday, hey, we're doing our big thing on Tuesday, so that sent us into a scramble. We're like, well, gosh, like, why would we do this show? Because it was like 7 in the morning, and I knew pre-production-wise, there was no way I was going to be able to watch the Nintendo thing and then get everything ready in 2 hours to come here and do this show. So then we pushed it to Wednesday so we could get Nintendo stuff into the show. And then, Matt, your cat had an emergency. If you want to explain what happened there.
My other, not Luna, the other cat, she has basically IBS. She has a chronic bowel syndrome issue that we headed it off as it was becoming cancer, and we headed it off with a year of chemotherapy. But she still has flare-ups now and again, and so overnight she had very bad diarrhea with blood in it and vomiting, which I think she throws out because there's diarrhea stuck on her fur and she can't get away from it.
Oh.
If you smelled 3 to 4 times better than a human and you couldn't get away from what this smells like, you probably would throw up too. But basically, I was up all night cleaning it and trying to, see what was wrong with her, and she was very unhappy, and so I wanted to take her in as soon as the vet opened, and I did, and they didn't find anything super wrong, but she's on a bunch of probiotic stuff now, and seems to be doing a little better, but it wasn't much you could do other than that, and I had 3 hours of sleep, so I was not going to be. I mean, I'm not much more today, but like there was 3 hours of sleep, and that was not going to be any good. Especially because I was in the middle of the show, I would have had to leave to go pick her up.
Right. Yeah.
So that was that, and then today I actually have guys upgrading the security and alarm and smoke detector systems here for insurance purposes. So I may have to go deal with that a couple of times, and also if you hear weird noises and
beeps
alarm, that's them testing the new system.
Yeah.
So it's just and we had termite treatments on Monday. It's just been a very long week of strangers in the house.
Yeah.
Quiet it down tomorrow, maybe.
Well, the good news actually is this has kind of worked out because, and I talked about this in an editorial in the boss fight for the latest episode of the Shane Satterfield show, is how like they're embargoing stuff from the show now, whereas before they couldn't because it was just a big free-for-all, and now like they have everything controlled. They're in control of everything, so they can schedule people to come in and look at stuff, and they can make them sign NDAs. And so what that has resulted in
is a little questionable in places. Like I don't know if you saw that thing where Ubisoft.
I think in a lot of places, honestly.
That one place that was like reporting on the layoffs coming from Ubisoft
under embargo,
and Ubi said the layoffs were under embargo, and it's like no, that's not
not
a
how
thing.
The press
that's
works.
Not how anything works. Also, the people who were being laid off already knew. Like there was no like the only excuse you could have for not reporting that would be like, well, we don't want to be where these people find out they're losing their jobs from because that's. But they already knew for the most part.
Yeah.
And so, they're getting a little. They're trying to redirect what has really become kind of a free for all chaos, like event into like, oh, now we can corporatize it a little more, and it's just like, no, like, settle down.
The final conclusion I came to in that editorial was I have finally admitted that the old E3 is never coming back. And one of the big reasons I think is because they now have total control over everything. So they don't do live press conferences anymore where stuff can go wrong.
They were never going to want to go back to that.
They're not going to want to. They're not going to want to pay the money for the press conference. They're not going to pay the money. You would have to present them with something that says the eyeballs double if you go back to the old way of doing things. That's the only, which is never going to happen. So it's also, never coming back.
You can never justify the venue rental. You can never. I mean, it's just a different world.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what happened. That's why we're doing the show on Thursday.
All I said before was, you remember the press conferences started as a way to present to investors and distributors and retailer. Like, the fact that we cared about it was incidental. Really.
Yeah.
Like, you don't care. They didn't care to, like normal people cared about it. It was just like to show everyone what was coming in down the retail channels to order it for your stores, and
it was all just about the money, honestly.
And now retail doesn't matter because you sell everything through your digital storefront, and who gives a shit?
No, only us now.
No reason to spend
now the people who weren't supposed to be there in the first place are the only ones who still care.
It ain't the Wild West anymore. Like where our old arcade trade shows were even worse. Like people used to steal each other's machines and like
Remember the one year they stole controllers from the Metal Gear kiosks?
But I'm thinking about the before we were even in high school and the old
when it was at like CES and all that stuff.
Yeah, and even before that, where like it was like distributor shows and like regional and stuff, and there were stories of where like there was limited space, and so people just come in and like wheel some competitor's machine like off into a corner, like into a closet or something, put their own, and like there was no rule like. Same with like the back of the day where you lease the machines and like people just like, oh, we'll pick those up for you, and that machine would never make it back to the distributor. It's like just out there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's that's where stuff like CES and E3 came from, was this sort of like freewheeling like cutthroat sales trade show stuff.
Yeah, that's what they are.
And people forget it was never for us.
Yeah.
And when they tried to make it for us, it sucked.
They failed.
I don't know.
We liked it better when it was just a trade show. That's the funny part.
I was at one of the E-for-alls. They only did that 2 years, but I was at the second E-for-all, and it was ridiculous. It was just
it's bad.
Very sad.
Yeah.
I remember I was there to cover it with Blair Herter. I remember we only had 2 appointments. We had an appointment for that vest that punches you in the chest when you get shot, and for some other like AR sort of whatever thing. And we were like, well, we need a bunch more stuff to do something. And we suddenly realized that like everybody was looking at us because we were the only people there with a camera crew. And so I'm like, come here, and we just sort of and so you got to remember it was one of the halls of the other convention center that's normally E3, but it's so sparse that they're just big empty fields everywhere.
Carpet,
So I'm just like, we just stood with the camera set up in the middle of the venue, of the middle of the convention center hall. And like
they just came to you.
They'd slowly come out. It was like I don't know. It was like some kind of like Star Wars thing where like we'll just wait here and the natives of the planet will come out to the Ewoks will slowly come out and poke us with their spears and try to sell us a jacket, and they did. Like it was like, oh, you want it? I'm like, yeah. So we didn't have to. I'm like, we're just going to turn the camera different directions and not have to reset every time. We'll be out of here by lunch. So that pretty much was what we did. And they never did that again. Yeah, that was in that same awkward era where they did the 1 year in Santa Monica.
Yeah, and in the gym basically, which is what Geoff Keighley's kind of doing now, honestly.
Yeah,
like his in-person thing.
But at least he's not trying
to
pack 40,000 people into it.
That's true.
That's true. Like he understands what kind of show it is.
Yeah, he does. Let's check in with you guys now. One thing. Oh, sorry about that. Actually, one thing I do want to say is that this show is going to be better because it was delayed. Because it gave me so much time to go and research every game. And there were probably 500 or 600 games, I think, that were shown throughout the course of the show. And I have simmered those down to the 50 that really are worth discussing. So we're going to talk about the 50 biggest games of Naughty 3 Summer Game Fest 2026 on today's show today. So you guys have obviously had plenty of time to go on SIFTD.net and check out a lot of this stuff, but I have tons of new details on pretty much every single game. I have done so much research for this episode. In fact, I was about to lose my mind for a while there. That's one thing I would say, Matt, is like, for me, like the workload from this was just as like, it's just like any other E3 for me. Like it doesn't change. I don't go to the show floor like I used to for 5 or 6 hours a day, but the amount of work that I was still working like all night, pretty much the entire week. So as far as the amount of work involved in E3, Summer Game Fest or whatever, that really hasn't changed at all. AJ the Legend says, is there anybody on YouTube yet?
Haven't seen it.
Did our stream go up on YouTube? Is there a problem with the stream maybe? If somebody's over on YouTube watching the stream, could you just like post? There we go. There's somebody there. It's crazy how few people we get from YouTube on our streams. We have
YouTube's also just quieter.
I mean, we have almost 20,000 people like subscribed on YouTube, and I don't understand it. It's really crazy. Like they never show up. There's some people. What's up, everybody? I don't get it.
They're just quieter.
I mean, at the end of everything, I get the number counts for everything. I know how many uniques we get on Twitch. I know how many uniques we get on YouTube.
Right, but so in general, YouTube is quieter.
Yeah. You mean as far as comments?
Yeah, in terms of
live
chat.
Our audience it is. But if you watch other people's stuff, it's just like...
Well, I mean, anything that I'd watch with live chat beyond us would be something exponentially larger than us.
Yeah.
Like something about our size, this is about the chat you're going to get on that.
We end up with about the same number of uniques on each platform.
There's a lot of people talking when you ask them to.
Right, yeah. We end up with about the same number of people on the stream from each platform, but on YouTube we have like 20,000 followers, and on Twitch we have like 3,000 or something like that. So we definitely percentage-wise get a much bigger audience over on Twitch, which is consequently why we end up doing like Name That Game Tune on Twitch. So, but what's up, YouTube? Good to see you guys all chiming in over there. While we're there, Nobazel77 says, what do you guys think of all the statements from Asha and reversal of exclusives? We're going to get into all this stuff. Like, don't ask any questions about Naughty 3 or Summer Game Fest right now, unless you're doing a super chat, and then we'll answer that, obviously, because we are going to answer all your questions. I have worked so hard on this episode to do that, to make sure we answer every question you have about every game that matters. So if you have other questions about other stuff, cool, ask, but like I'm just telling you, if you sit back and watch this episode, you're going to feel like you were at Naughty 3. I promise you. I have worked so hard on this episode. Erebus says, you've also clashed with the first game of the World Cup. Probably not a huge overlap, but I bet there is some. I mean, we're in LA. You would never know the World Cup is going on here.
No.
It is like any other day here. There's no difference. There's no more traffic. In fact, there was like hardly any traffic coming over here today. And actually, there's probably less traffic than usual, which is weird. But yeah, you'd never know it.
Traffic during major sporting event, like things in LA, tends to go down.
Yeah, it's because they go to the stadiums and there's less people driving around.
Famously, in '84, the traffic during the Olympics in '84 got better. Part of that was because they built a bunch of new stuff for it, but also because people got so freaked out about staying off the road because they're afraid of traffic. Traffic actually reduced.
Mm-hmm. Times, I mean, and we're live presentations means we can't see how badly the tech actually works. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, all that's gone now. All the flubs that happen on stage, demos crashing.
You'll never get another. Never get another Warhawk.
You're never going to hit the weak point for massive damage again, because they can take as long as they want to make these presentations perfect.
Well, they still screw up.
Well, because they're just dumb.
Yeah.
Some of them are dumb.
But you're not going to get into like Ridge Racer thing anymore. I mean,
you'll just cut it out. They'll be like, oh, that's stupid. We're not going to keep that in.
I mean, you're never going to get that kind of a meme situation again, but it's like the companies would prefer that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they don't. I'm sure Sony is not thrilled that we still mention that.
No, definitely not.
20 years. That was 20 years this year.
It is, yeah.
Ridge Racer and the giant enemy crab and massive damage, weak spot for.
That's all 20 years ago.
And the stupid Africa demo, which was just like quiet animals walking. I do remember during the Eye of Judgment thing in that I was like 5th or 6th row center with Adam and Morgan. I remember Morgan leans over to me and goes, what the fuck am I watching? And I'm like, I don't know.
Andy Monahan, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. That's awesome, man. Appreciate it. Mitchell Ness, who works in the industry, I'll read his comment. He says, working these events now that they're spread apart is actually more work. I've done a couple times, and it's just a lot of running around and trying to keep tabs, and it seems like everyone has a show now. They do.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I worked just as hard as I always have on E3. I worked just as hard this week, just as many hours as I always have.
And you didn't even get to go to Pactor's party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fire Native, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. Age of the Legend. Matt, what did you think of Matt? No movie reviews. We don't have time for a movie review today.
As with most of the rest of the planet, I have not seen it.
Oh, really? You didn't even go?
No, I was busy.
Yeah, right. You have had a busy week.
I might get to it eventually. I hear it's okay, but like, I did not get to it.
No. Khalib Twilight says, sympathies to Matt. My late cat had a genetic defect, literal semicolon. Had to give her antibiotics regularly to keep her comfortable. Yeah. As our furry ones, man, we will spare no expense to take care of our little furry ones. One Super Master Gamer, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. 77 months worth. Thank you, brother. Next to Twi, I have a cat with Crohn's disease. That's on a special diet. Yep. I think a lot of people have had experiences with cats with special needs. I mean, my mom had a cat that had distemper when it was a kitten, and so it was like drunk all the time. It stumbled all over the place. It couldn't judge distances, so it had to peck with its nose. So its nose was always covered with dirt from like, it would have to like peck its food to eat. It was crazy. So I think everybody has some story about a pet that just wasn't quite right and you had to give a little extra attention to. Eve Demon just putting it here. The game I came out of the show I'm most looking forward to in short term is Star Wars Zero Company. I mean, I don't think you're all that alone on that. That game got a lot of views on SIFTD this week. David 5007, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. I think that might be it. Mitchell Ness getting ready to be a dad. Oh, congratulations, Mitchell. That's awesome, man. So I had to drop my Patreon subs, but I can give you Twitch Prime at least. So did you just stop subscribing to Amazon Prime to save the money because you're about to have a new addition to the family? Is that what you did?
He said he can give you Twitch Prime.
Oh, he can. Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Next to Twa, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. That's awesome. What else? Mitchell Ness, thank you for Twitch Prime. Following up on your comment. Ian Esquire, thank you. What else we got here? I think that's it. Yeah. Also, we're like at almost level 4 of the hype train and the show just started. So thank you guys very, very much for that. I really, really appreciate it. Let's get back down to the beginning of the chat here so we can get on with the show. And what's up, YouTube crew? Hope you guys are doing great. And I like Caleb Faruqi, Callie Faruqi over there saying, give Shane more money. That would be awesome.
I've also not seen Obsession, so I'm behind on the movies.
Yeah, you've had a busy week, man. You had a lot going on.
I'm going to see Disclosure Day tomorrow or Saturday.
Are you?
Probably because it's Spielberg. But.
Yeah. And is there something special about that film where they're showing it or how they're showing it or something?
There's like 40X. I'm just not the version I'm going to see.
Okay.
But, I mean, this most special thing coming up is the 70 millimeters on film of The Odyssey.
Okay. Yeah, that looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
that may get me back to the theaters.
I mean, he's Nolan.
Yeah.
It'll get a lot of people back to the theaters. He's for whatever reason, he is a big draw.
I mean, he makes pretty good films.
I did enjoy that Robert Pattinson is apparently the only person in the whole cast that insisted on seeing the script first.
Oh.
Which is funny when it's The Odyssey. And apparently Nolan was like, no one else wanted to see this. He's like, yeah, I just really like it. And it's like, when you think about it, the last movie Robert Pattinson did with Nolan was Tenet.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, Robert Pattinson, he probably should be looking at the script for that one. Like, what are you going to do The Odyssey, Chris? Come on.
Yep, seriously.
So, no, it looks really good.
It really does. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it.
So, somebody calculated like the amount of all the budgets of all the different movies, how much money Hollywood has spent trying to get Matt Damon home. And it's like between that and The Martian and Interstellar and Saving Private Ryan, like you really got to put a collar on a guy or something.
That's really funny. All right, well, we are about to blow out Naughty 3 Summer Game Fest 2026 like you have never seen, I promise you. But before we do that, here's a word from our awesome sponsor, LS Cream. It's LS Cream, the fine cream liqueur crafted by fellow gamer and sifter, Stevens Charles. Inspired by the Haitian drink crémasse, LS Cream delivers an award-winning experience with every single pour. One sip and you'll see why. It's a party favorite. The silky blend of fresh cream and premium neutral grain spirits mixes great with everything. I dare you to put a shot in your coffee. I've been drinking it for years and still, I find new combinations that taste incredible. LS Cream is the kind of drink that keeps surprising you thanks to its notes of vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and coconut. Take it to any gathering and watch it steal the spotlight. We've never seen anyone resist. Ready to join the fan club? Head to creamls.com/sifted for recipes, retailers, and online orders. That's creamls.com/sifted. That's right, party people. Join the Cream team. Go to creamls.com/sifted. Sign your ass up for the LS Cream 5K challenge and crémasse dad ass with some LS Cream. I promise you, you will find all kinds of awesome stuff that mixed with LS Cream that tastes absolutely delicious. 5K challenge, make up your own drink using LS Cream. Get creative, have some fun with it, take a cool photo. You could win $5,000 in the LS Cream 5K challenge. Again, go to creamls.com/sifted to fill out the paperwork, and then you head up on to Instagram, make your drink, take a picture, and you could win. Good luck, and head on over there and get signed up for the LS Cream 5K challenge. And we're going to kick off the show with the Video Game Town headline of the week. And obviously, I think you guys know why we're all here today on a Thursday instead of a Tuesday. It's because of Naughty 3 Summer Game Fest 26. And what I wanted to talk about for the headline of the week at Video Game Town is the overall event. Naughty 3 Summer Game Fest, whatever the hell you want to call it. Before we get into the topic, though, I want to remind you that Video Game Town is just like Sifted. It is an independent games journalism website. I think you guys got to appreciate that two of us are banding together to try to help each other. And I think that's what I like about independent games journalism is that, like, we kind of root for each other instead of necessarily competing against each other. So go to videogame.town. What they're doing there is all these gaming websites and magazines and everything else is closing down. They wait for those places to close down, and then they end up hiring the best writers from those publications and giving them a place to basically publish their work and get paid very, very well for it. They are making sure that the people who are writing for them are getting paid. And Matt, I don't know if you've seen lately, but like a lot of these sites, like these, they used to be big, like Polygon and stuff like that. Like their practices for paying people now are really, really scummy. Like basically like cost per article, it's insane. Like,
yeah. I mean, they also don't have any money.
Right.
Like, there's just, it's all a slowly
it almost feels like a facade. It really does. And they're all just leaning on kind of their guide content at this point to float the boat. That's what Video Game Town is all about. They're picking up the best writers from these places and giving them a place to publish their work where they will get paid very well for it. Go to videogame.town and support them. Check out their Patreon. They're awesome. We love what they're doing. Once again, we have a sponsor here on GameFace that I love and I'm happy about promoting. So go to videogame.town. Now, let's talk about this, Matt. What are your kind of overall impressions of Naughty 3 Summer Game Fest that we've seen so far? Really?
Yeah.
You think it's an
I don't think Summer Games Fest is a big deal until people stop calling it E3.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that some of my casual friends would send me like trailer, usually a tweet or something about with a trailer for something that had been announced that day or whatever, and be like, "Oh, this looks cool. What is this about?" And I'm just like, and not a single one of them knew where any of these came from. They did not know Summer Games Fest was happening. They didn't know there was some presentation that this trailer had come out of like 5 minutes earlier. They just seen it on social media and like, "Oh, this looks cool. Should I be interested in this?" Like they're basically asking my opinion on it. I'm like, "Yeah, there's a thing going on right now." And none of them had any idea. And most of these people were people who definitely knew what E3 was happening when that was happening.
Yeah.
So it hasn't escaped containment yet by any means. And I don't think it will until the people who cover it and deal with it in that core space get the fuck over E3 and acknowledge that this is, while this is similar and at the same time it's its own thing.
But what do you think their lack of willingness to call it whatever the new name is doing though?
Why
is that?
I think they cover it in context of something that was it inevitably ends up being framed as better and nostalgic, and this is how we used to do it and was super awesome, and all we have now is this, but I guess we'll just like make the best of it.
I see.
Until you make Summer Games Fest
good enough
to just be itself,
just to be awesome on its own,
cover it and check it out, you're gonna be stuck in this thing where you're sort of like covering this also ran event that is like this weak replacement for what we used to have. And like that's not wrong, but it's also not the way you need to present this. E3 hasn't happened in 7 years.
I know, it's crazy.
Move on. Like there's nothing wrong with anything that happened this week in terms of like revealing new stuff, showing us new things about the games we already knew about, creating some kind of event where people got hands-on. I mean, it did it just fine.
Yeah.
We don't need to keep comparing it to this trade show that hasn't been around since before the pandemic.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I honestly thought this whole week was freaking awesome. And I watched everything. I didn't watch some of the indie stuff like the Happy Bundle show.
I didn't watch the 3-hour PC Gamer show. I didn't watch the Treehouse stuff. But like in terms of like sort of the
big four,
the equivalence of what
the pressers
would have been been E3 or whatever if you want to continue doing that. Which what other frame of reference do we have in some ways? It was pretty indistinguishable in terms
from
of
sitting at home.
In terms of what they would be announcing and what you'd be seeing, and kind of the reveal of the next basically 6 to 9 months of what they're planning to release. It was more or less in a way you could say it's kind of back to form if you're comparing
I would agree with that. As far as content is concerned, I thought it was great. Like, I know you said that casuals don't care, and you're right. And also notice...
It's not that they don't care, they don't know.
They don't know, right.
Like, a couple of them were like, it was the first time they'd ever heard that this was a thing in the post-E3 era. And, 2 of them did, in fact, turn on Geoff's, the Summer Games Fest live stream and watch the rest of it. But the first time they didn't know that these trailers were popping up on social media was from an actual event that was happening as they were looking at it. And... I don't think that's a failing of anyone running the event or anything. It's just like it's just not a thing that the mainstream press report, because again
that's where you're getting. That's what I was waiting
to say. They knew what E3 was because it was on CNN,
right?
You know,
and it's not, and that's the problem, Matt. Is that this no longer touches the mainstream,
right? Because it's not a corporate event. It's not
an
industry event.
Cool. Like CNN can't go to Geoff's little gym and like have this awesome shot with EA's booth behind them, and like it doesn't feel like a big thing anymore like it used to.
Yeah, there's no life-size pod racer.
Yeah.
There's no like recreation of the Zelda maze.
Right.
There's no,
Yeah, you don't get like the mainstream press there anymore, and that's why I feel it's not reaching the casuals as much as it used to. The other thing I would say though is that like E3 is still a pop. Like our traffic this week on Sifted is the best it's been since like last E3, like last June or whatever. Like comments, views, engagement, everything. Metrics way up. So as far as the core is concerned, this is doing a good job of reaching them still. But you're right. The bigger audience, again, the people that we say turns a 5 million game into a 12 million game, those people aren't engaged with it anymore. And I think that is a problem, honestly.
Well, that's just going to take time. It's going to take time to make it something that people outside of the core recognize that they're going to, you know, if I watch this, I'll see all these new things.
Yeah.
In part because, like, if you were trying to do that with Summer Games Fest before this, you were not getting the level of, you know, content as you would this year.
Yeah.
I think this is the first year where it felt like it had the balance of big name, AAA, like, you know, mainstream stuff balanced with indie stuff, balanced with smaller stuff, B-list stuff, corporate stuff. It's the first time that mix felt the same as like an E3 week.
Yeah.
It felt like there was enough big bombastic stuff to keep like the casuals happy, and enough like weird smaller like futury stuff and like innovative stuff to keep the grognards happy. And like it kind of like felt like the mix was there. Was like previous years I think was like, all right, here's another free game as a service from China, and here's another Asian mythology Dark Souls clone, just over and over and over and over. It's like and like to the point that, like, as you said many times, like you can't tell the difference between the sponsors and the premieres.
That was a problem. We'll start talking specifically about Geoff's show, and that is still an issue.
It's still there.
Yeah.
But
I also think I've come up with a way to fix it, and I'll talk about that when we talk about it.
But like the other stuff, the non-summer game, the individual companies stuff, it didn't feel like they'd really done anything different than they would have done for E3,
other than do it live on a stage.
Yeah. And they kind of stopped doing that.
They kind of
largely
had,
by the end of E3, by 2019 anyway, which is part of the problem.
Yeah.
And hey, at least Sony participated, sort of.
Yeah.
It's so yes, and like they're not holding anything back, they're not worried about getting lost in the noise with the other. Everybody's sort of adjusted to this whole, like, okay, it used to be like, when E3 first ended, it was sort of like, we're going to spread this out across all of June.
Yeah.
And that slowly started to shrink back to a window where I feel like we're in a 12-day window now.
Yeah.
And I could see that eventually becoming a week again. Yeah. Which is obviously easier for you.
I'm glad Nintendo this time got a little bit closer
decided
to
participate. Yeah.
That was nice. Instead of waiting till the end of June or whatever.
There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
It was certainly easier to focus on it with everything clustered together. I still don't know why Microsoft is so obsessed with doing it on Sunday, because they were then too.
Yeah, no, it'll never change. I don't think. 10 a.m. Like I had to get up at like 6 that morning, whatever.
They're all just like, I don't know. Microsoft just doesn't have to go to church, I guess.
Yeah, apparently not. So in general, I really enjoyed Summer Game Fest, not E3. It seems like you guys did too on the site. Like the conversation was great. Like you guys, as always, were being very respectful of each other, even when you disagreed. It was just a great week at SIFTD.net, and I hope everybody who was on the site had a good time there. I definitely did, interacting with you guys. It was, again, one of the biggest weeks for engagement since last June. So the core still care, and they show up big time for E3 still. It's interesting how everything's so spread out now. So one of the things about Geoff's show in particular was they had like 3.8 million concurrents it peaked at or something like that. And I compared that to the old days when G4 and Spike were both streaming. And it really looks like the eyeballs are kind of the same, actually.
Sort of. I mean, again, you're wondering if that's actual unique viewers or like that usual thing.
I think they're roughly, like, he may have fudged, the numbers may be fudged a little bit, but I think generally it's kind of the same. Like, it hasn't really increased the number of eyeballs or decreased.
I mean, that was one of the issues we had with E3 was there was no way to increase the viewership of it.
It's Once you found out what the peak was.
This amount of people are interested in this, and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah.
It doesn't there was a delusion among the executive wing that was sort of like, well, these big games sell 10, 20 million copies, so why don't we get 10, 20 million viewers? And it's like, because those people buy 3 games.
Yeah.
Like not everyone who bought GTA
doesn't
care
5 hours
about
of
this.
game coverage.
Because all they do is play GTA.
Yeah. Or whatever.
Madden.
Yeah.
And guess what's not showing up here?
Yeah.
Either of those things.
That's true. Yeah. So last year, according to their data, it was 3.1. It went to 3.8 this year. But the co-streaming, last year, 1,300 channels co-streamed it. This year, it was like 8,000. Like, at one point, like, the streams also weren't great on YouTube this year. Like, a lot of them were buckling and, like, buffering and stuff for me. So a couple times I went back out and kind of just went to youtube.com, and I could see that there were just hundreds and hundreds of channels live streaming the same thing. And they all had, like, 8 viewers, 4 viewers, 5 viewers, 22 viewers. Like, everything is just spread so thin now. It's like, if you're an IGN or someone trying to sell your live stream now, it's very hard to tell, like, a marketer what to expect from the audience there because it's so spread thin now. So it's just been interesting. That was a big change this year, is how many co-streams there were and other channels kind of helping Geoff's cause. But the number of co-streams went up 5 times and the number of viewers went up 18%. So it shows you that the co-streams aren't helping the audience all that much. So bottom line is, I had a great time this week. I thought it was an awesome show. There were, as you're going to see as we go through these, there are pluses and minuses from all the big events, and we're going to go through them all. But on the whole, I thought it was great. Like, I really thought the industry looked good. The games looked good. Very little controversy, though there's some, and we're going to talk about that because that's what we do here on GameFace. But for the most part, it just seemed like a great week for the video game industry, which is really cool. So there you go. That's our headline of the week from Video Game Town. Go to videogame.town. Check it out. It's one of the last websites on the internet that is still supporting awesome game writing. Go check them out. All right. We're about to kick off GameFace 483 proper. The first thing we're going to discuss is Xbox. So I have stacked this show, I believe, in order of awesome. So while we have plucked sort of the 50 best games from Naughty 3 in total, we're still going to go show by show and kind of highlight the big stuff in each one of those. And so we already talked about Sony's State of Play in the last episode of GameFace. So what we have left now is Xbox, Geoff Keighley's Summer Game Fest presentation, and Nintendo's Direct. So I have ranked those. You can hate me for this if you want. I believe the best one of those 3 was Xbox. I believe Geoff's was second best, and I believe Nintendo's Direct was the worst of those 3. And you guys can hate me for it and say I'm wrong. Once we talk about them, maybe then you can express your displeasure with me. But we're going to start with Xbox. And the first thing we're going to talk about is a piece of hardware. Now, there has been so many stories coming out of the Xbox camp since its showcase, because Asha Sharma has been making the rounds at pretty much everywhere. She did an interview with Bloomberg. She did one with, like, Forbes, I think. And I gotta hand it to her. She's doing really well. For somebody who's only been on the job for like 100 days, like, it's really hard to tell, Matt, that she has not been embedded in this stuff for a long time. Like, she's really smart.
She's clearly had ideas about how to run this department before she got here.
Yes. And you can tell that she's a very quick learner. Like, she's kind of figured out Xbox's business already. And she did a bunch of interviews.
She clearly seems to understand a lot of Phil's mistakes.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
The other thing I'll say is that Phil's mistakes are becoming so obvious now. Now that information is starting to leak out about the stuff that was happening behind the scenes, like,
Bizarre.
I hate to say it, I was right about him all along. Like, he was really managing that place by, like, the seat of his pants, which is crazy. A business that big, like, he was just winging it, basically. So she's a little more corporate, which may be exactly what Xbox needs right now.
Remember, she came off the AI division, which means she's seen abject failure firsthand.
Right.
So she's definitely aware of the foibles involved here.
Absolutely. And so she has been talking about hardware in these interviews. Pachter seems to think that they may cancel Project Helix, like the expensive version of it, like the one that's going to cost like $1,200.
Well, considering that I think Helix was originally Phil's like bone thrown to people in the company that still believe they should be in hardware, so we could finally say like, hey, it doesn't work, we need to back off hardware. That does not seem to be their plan anymore. So it sounds like they need to maybe reevaluate what their entry into the next generation is going to be. If the intention is no longer to alienate people, I think you need something different. this is apparently a step in the right direction because this is the thing that was mentioned to me the most by my casual friends by far.
Like the old school Xbox.
But the thing that blows my mind, it's not old school Xbox because the Xboxes didn't look like that.
They were black.
That was the debug kits.
I know. That's what I don't get.
Who is it? But everyone I've talked to loves this thing.
I know. They're making it seem like this was something that consumers bought back in the day.
It's like, hey, remember the clear green? Yeah, because we had a debug, but I don't remember
only the
any
press
of the
had those.
retail ones.
They made controllers, I think, with the see-through green, but they never made consoles for people.
I mean,
to
a lot
buy.
of stuff was see-through at the time, but I don't remember the Xbox doing that.
I don't either
until later.
Well, I mean, obviously, the Xbox itself was just black plastic. It wasn't see-through at all.
And there were weird versions of it later, but I don't remember.
I don't either.
Anything of this color.
But it is really cool, and it is resonating. People are resonating with this. But here's the thing, like Asha Sharma in these interviews that she's been doing has been really downplaying hardware, talking about how they're starting to look at creative ways. And I'm telling you, you guys don't want to hear this, but I guarantee you she is thinking about what Pactor has been talking about for the last 10 months, which is connected TV.
Yeah, the chat does note that the Halo CE version of this of the original Xbox did kind of look like
Did
that. It wasn't the same as the debug, but it did have a more translucent green to it.
Interesting. Yeah. But, so she is kind of hinting at already, hey, don't count on some of this stuff we've been talking about for the last couple months because it could all go away. She's calling it a reset, that they need to reset Xbox, basically. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, she's not wrong.
I mean, she's not wrong at all. I mean, I've been very impressed with her in the first 100 days. I wouldn't say I was skeptical of her, but someone coming from the AI department at Microsoft, as you said, was a huge failure, and you're bringing them to something else that's failing. That sounds like a terrible idea to me, but so far, I feel like she's doing a pretty good job. Now, will I be saying that if she cancels all Xbox consoles for Infinity? Maybe not, but in the end, it may be the right thing for Xbox.
The conclusion may still end up being that they need to just be a software publisher. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like they're at least going to give it one last college try before giving up, which is not really what seemed to be what Phil's plan was.
Yeah.
It was just sort of to let the hardware side and sort of the Game Pass element sort of slowly collapse like a flan in a cupboard.
Yeah. No, seriously, it does feel that way. So it's interesting that they've introduced this new Xbox Series X. It does make you wonder if they're like, maybe we should just stick with the Xbox Series X and try to sell this machine that we haven't sold hardly any of yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've only sold, my guess is 20 million or something like that.
Well, now they're saying that they can't even make it fast enough to keep up with demand, which is weird because you can go down the street and get one at Best Buy right now.
There's stacks of them sitting there right now. What are they talking about?
I don't know what they're talking about.
I saw that too. I was like, what the hell?
I'm sure that will sell out. The 25th anniversary thing will sell out.
Yeah. You won't be able to make enough of those.
Right.
Those are coming in fall.
They're in limited editions.
Right.
They're intentionally not supposed to be making enough of those. But it's like you can go get a Series X right now. There's 5 different stores you could go to in LA right now to get one.
So console,
get 5
so you know.
While you're
right. Yeah, seriously. So that console, just so you know, is coming November 2026, and as Matt mentioned, it is in limited supply. So if that strikes your fancy and you want to get it, you better be on it, and you can just tune your browser to SIFTD.net.
You better be ready to wait in virtual line and not get it anyway.
That could happen. Absolutely.
If it's anything like the PlayStation one.
Yeah. So leaving this E3, whatever the F you want to call it, I'm more confused about Xbox on the hardware front than I was before. It felt like I knew Xbox Series going away, Project Helix coming, going to be mega powerful, probably going to be expensive. But now, I don't know about any of that stuff.
I don't know. There's conflicting reporting on that, too. There's some people saying that they are more invested in Helix than ever, and that's a huge cornerstone of the strategy. There's some saying they're moving away from the expensive idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems to me they are trying to work hard to give you a reason to own the hardware, though, because they are moving back to the console exclusive idea. Mm-hmm. Certainly with Gear. I mean, most of the stuff they announced were going to have multi-platform releases is still getting a multi-platform release, but E-Day is pulling back from that. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's kind of it. If you want to play E-Day and Fable on a console, it sounds like you're going to need an Xbox.
Well, Fable, that's not true. So we'll get into that. Maybe we should talk about that right now. It's multi-platform strategy before we start talking about the games. So
if they really are dedicated to making you own an Xbox to play their best stuff, I think putting Fable on PlayStation is a mistake. If they like money, I think putting Fable on PlayStation is a good idea.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends what they value at this point.
Well, so here's what's all come out throughout the course of the week. There are only 2 games that are going to be Xbox exclusive. It's Gears of War E-Day and Clockwork Revolution. That's it. Everything else is multi-platform.
And really only one of those matters.
Right. And because Clockwork Revolution, we're going to talk about it in a minute, looked really bad. And it was one of the worst, I thought, one of the worst games they showed. So to me, they have 2 games that, I mean, that's just throwing bones to the fans. Basically what they said to me is, and what I took away from this is, like, we hear the fans, they're salty that we're going multi-platform, but they're wrong, and we know it will make more money being multi-platform. So we're going to put a couple games just for them. Hopefully it makes them happy. And all the rest of our stuff is multi-platform. That seems to be what they're doing.
Sorta. I mean, it seem to indicate that going forward, that may not be the case. Honestly, I think your biggest litmus test here is what happens with Fable. If they backtrack on the PS5 version of Fable,
which they haven't.
They haven't.
Yeah.
But if they do that between now and February, there's a long time to go.
Yeah.
They decide that's their strategy, then you know that they're going to actually try to make this Xbox.
Well, I mean, you have other games before that though. You have Halo Campaign Evolved.
Yeah, those things are already in the pipeline too far.
Yeah.
To change. But something that comes out in February, you can change your mind on that.
But Gears of War E-Day, they're saying the PS5 version was done, and they had already sent box art to retailers for the PS5 version that they had to try to get back, and there was logos in their own show for the PS5 version. So they basically had that finished and just bailed at the last minute.
So we'll see if they do the same thing with Fable.
They could. I think a lot is going to depend on how the fans react. That's
your canary in the coal mine on how this strategy is going.
Yeah.
And where they think their future lies, I think, is what they do with Fable in that regard.
Okay. Let's start talking about the games, because we have a lot to get through, not just for Xbox, but for everything. The first one we're going to talk about is the biggest third-party franchise in the industry, and that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. Actually, we were supposed to talk about this last week because this was debuted before.
Is it?
Is it what?
The biggest thing?
Well, it'll sell more than anything else.
Maybe.
It will.
Maybe.
I mean, worst case scenario, it sells
well, first
18
off,
million.
If GTA comes out on time, no, it won't.
Well, you're right.
Second,
that's true, actually.
Year-on-year sales down 60% with Black Ops. This is important because we're going to find out whether that is Black Ops fatigue or COD fatigue.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little both, honestly.
Probably a little both. I lean harder in the direction of Black Ops fatigue.
Yeah.
I don't think this will be that bad.
I think Modern Warfare is the imprint that people look for the most.
Yeah.
Even more than Black Ops. I really believe that.
So. For sure.
Even though I generally like Black Ops better, but the mass audience usually buys this imprint more. So we'll see. This one is set in South Korea, North Korea. The whole theme is North Korea versus South Korea.
It's a big DMZ thing.
Yep. There's a big... So, extraction shooters, ahoy. The big new feature for this game is that they've turned DMZ into an extraction shooter, which... You know, I don't care. But I will say this, that for the actual show...
At least it's not replacing any of the other main game stuff.
That's true.
It's just a third pillar.
Well, also you got to remember that Modern Warfare typically doesn't have zombies. Yeah. So it is kind of replacing zombies.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not replacing zombies because there was never going to really be zombies.
They always have a mode in Modern Warfare to replace zombies. And that's what DMZ is this time. And I don't care about extraction shooters, but I will say this. Like, the presentation that they showed for it was pretty good. Like, it looks like maybe the best extraction shooter on the market once it releases, but I don't really care about that subgenre. But bottom line is...
It was certainly nicely put together.
Yeah. But, I mean, is this the first Call of Duty in an Asian country? I think it is. Campaign-wise, I mean.
I mean, you've been to places in Asia, but in terms of, like, being, like, fully
the
set
whole
there,
set
the whole
there,
thing,
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, the other thing, too, is that, like, Infinity Ward isn't what it used to be.
I'm trying to... No, well,
I
guess technically the one that took place in the Pacific Front was
that's a good point, actually. That was a World War II game,
World
right?
War II,
yeah. That's a good point, though.
It was still Asia.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it absolutely is.
But obviously, in terms of the modern stuff, I think because they've never really done Vietnam. I mean, the Black Ops had some Vietnam stuff, but it wasn't...
There's always been, like, a mission set there. Yeah. So anyway... I agree with you, Matt. I think there's a lot riding on this game. I think some of the more interesting responses from Asha Sharma was when they asked her about Call of Duty, because I think they're trying to figure it out. Now, this obviously has been removed from Game Pass. That's the other thing, too, Matt, we should have mentioned. They doubled down on Game Pass with this presentation. Pretty much every big game is coming to Game Pass day one, except for this one. Mm-hmm. So we thought maybe all first-party games would be yanked from Game Pass day one. That is not the case.
Yeah, and I still think, again, I think all that's up in the air. Mm-hmm. Like, they're sticking with the day one thing for now, but next year I think that could change. Mm-hmm. I think Asha seems to be remaining agile. Like, I think she's ready to change the plan if something's not working in the midst of what's happening.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a very drastic and positive shift from how Xbox has been led for many years.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it makes sense. Like, if you don't have to reinvent like all four wheels on the vehicle, don't.
Yeah.
Like, keep doing what you're doing with that. But as she said in that one interview, like they've spent like some obscene amount of money, which is like $2 billion or something, that like matches up to basically what they've been doing to pay people to put their stuff on in day one. So obviously it doesn't cost them all that much to put their own stuff on day one, which is probably the angle to go with.
Yeah.
But now they're down. What's amazing to me there is how far they're down $500 million in revenue every year for the last 4 years, and they're still in the black.
I know, it's insane.
They're still like making 3% profit. It's just not what they want to
well,
make.
They want like
20%. 20%, right. But it's just amazing that you can lose $2 billion in revenue in 4 years and you're still actually making money.
It's really crazy.
Like, that's how big this business was.
Yeah.
And how just decimated it is now. Like that used to be a pretty solid cash cow. Not like crazy in terms of what Microsoft expects things to be, but like, man, what a no wonder they fired a bunch of people.
Seriously, though. You're starting to see why. And just before we move on to the next game here, I do want to clarify, this campaign isn't just set in South Korea. It also jumps around like every Call of Duty campaign.
But the core of it seems to be DMZ.
Yep.
The DMZ is where everything sort of begins and ends with it.
Yep, so Korea, they said there's a lot of trench warfare in the Korea stages. There's close quarters combat in the New York stages. There's big chases through the Paris stages, and then there's night raids in Mumbai. So, like every campaign, it does jump around all over the place. And,
I mean, Modern Warfare is global by definition. It's sort of like one of the watch words of this part of the franchise. But like, you know, in the same way that like Modern Warfare 2 is, you know, set in the America being invaded by Russia. It's not that kind of Korea is the center, the hub of what's happening here.
Yeah, and like I was saying
which
earlier,
is interesting because a lot of people don't want to touch that political situation.
Yeah,
that's a real thing.
It's true.
That's a risky choice of material. I think.
It is. I mean, if you want the game to sell globally, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that if they do it right, it will help it sell globally because it is something a very large chunk of the market is interested in because they live next to it.
I have a feeling the installed base in North Korea for consoles is probably pretty low.
Pretty low. But I feel there might be a rather prominent person there that will play it.
Just one.
Just one, yeah.
That's really funny. So anyway, the other thing I would say is what I was saying earlier is that Infinity Ward is not what it once was. Like, it used to be like one of the best developers in the industry. If you watch, like, they remade was it Modern Warfare 3 in 2023 or something?
Yeah.
Like, it was not great.
I mean, they remade all three of them.
Yeah.
And they were...
Now, all they have left to do is make a new game.
Now they got to keep going, I guess. Because you can't start over.
Yeah. Yeah, so Infinity Ward isn't what it used to be. Just keep that in mind. But, yeah. Next Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 4, and a big push is DMZ, which is an extraction shooter.
I look forward to people that don't know anything about the world calling it Call of Duty Modern Warfare DMZ.
Yeah, DMZ. Next up, what was probably the big featured game for the Xbox showcase, Gears of War E-Day. They showed a nice 8-minute chunk of gameplay. They just let it play and showed you basically the beginning of the game, it seems like. Because they're emerging at that point during that demo. So my guess is it's either you haven't seen the opening cutscene maybe, but this is probably the opening salvo of the game.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have his armor or anything yet. So
yeah,
it's because him.
Well, he meets the cogs.
Yeah, he meets Dom and everybody in the bar,
and you can see he's about to join up or whatever. But you're right, like he has no armor yet. He's not a part of the team yet. So that's a big part of it. They also said that the chainsaw bayonet, you're going to learn the origins of the chainsaw bayonet in this game.
Yeah, it's what's his name? Is it Jin? Is that his name?
I don't know.
Because he's in the first game. He was the leader of the squad. He was the leader of Delta originally, and then he gets killed. But he shows up in this.
Yeah.
I like the way they're integrating a lot of this. Keeping it a little bit surprising, like the fact that like
you can jump.
You can jump, but also that
which
Dom,
is silly to have to mention in a game in 2026. But
also that Dom was not really his close friend before all this.
Yeah,
like he was friends with Dom's older brother, and and that brother was killed in the war between humans, and so like he and Dom didn't really know each other that well. They just knew each other through his brother, and like through all this became besties and That's an interesting change to sort of, I mean, that's a retcon. That's a good retcon.
Yeah.
Because then you have a way to develop that relationship through this game, and you thought you kind of already had that relationship nailed down.
Yeah.
So that's a good. You can tell through a lot of this that they were in fact thinking very carefully about how to do this and why to do this and why this is a story worth telling, which is not something Gears has always done.
Did you see the interviews with the team though, where they were like, we basically were just bored with making the new Gears?
No, I mean, agree. Join the club, boys. Like
they were like, we sat down and we're like, we don't want to make Gears 6. We want to make another game.
I don't want to play Gears 6, so I think we're all on the same page here.
I thought that was pretty hilarious. This is coming July 28th. This was removed from PlayStation 5. It is not coming to PlayStation 5 anymore, so just PC and Xbox Series and Game Pass on day one. Generally, I think I was pretty impressed with this. I mean, I was a little disappointed that in all this time they still haven't found really any unique sort of gameplay tweaks to the system that they've had for all this time.
Really, the tweaks are being able to mantle stuff in motion, which is weird to think that you couldn't do that before, but you could. I think the most significant part of that is that I think no longer having that be the catalyst, hitting cover used to be the catalyst for being able to then do your next move, to either move to the next cover or mantle. Changing that is going to change how the ping-ponging works in multiplayer, unless they are going back to the old system in multiplayer, which is possible because they have historically seemed very afraid to alienate the multiplayer people to the point that the single-player campaign will sometimes play very differently.
Yeah, they did say also, by the way, that even though they haven't shown it yet, that multiplayer and horde mode are both coming, but they're going to, obviously they have a lot of time before this comes out.
You got 2 more presentations you can get away with here.
Yeah, and they will. So generally, I like the setting too. I like being in a city instead of just being in this like wasteland all the time.
I think it's more interesting to show the destroyed beauty thing, which they do mention in some of this, where it's like that was the concept of the original Gears, which was Sarah used to be this beautiful place with incredible architecture and all this this very ancient history. I mean, clearly we've been on this planet for so long that no one even remembers Earth. Yeah, really. So this is thousands and thousands of years in the future, but like. Even though we're still kind of using the same stop signs, which is weird. But like being able to see it look like this and like look the way it used to is great. And then because they have the tech to destroy all this stuff. And I like the stuff they talk about where like you'll be coming back to areas later in the game and you get to see them have completely destroyed and when you saw them like pristine before. That's a really cool way to go about it. Yep. A new kind of cover you can lay down. You can actually. Yeah.
And the agility is a little different. Like the sliding into covers has been tweaked a little bit. So they've made some
slight
made it feel, updates.
It's not going to feel. I don't think it's going to feel as old. Not as old. But also, it's not going to feel as stilted. Yeah. Like Gear. Even playing, I enjoyed replaying Gears in the remake they did. The new version of the first game they did, but it still felt pretty clunky in places because of what it was.
They also tweaked the active reload for some weapons. So weapons, each weapon now has a different active reload. Which is kind of interesting.
It's also interesting that it's in the middle of the screen and not up in the corner, which is probably also a good change.
Yeah, now you can actually see it and notice it. Yeah. I think that's good. So I'm pretty excited for this, honestly. I'm more excited. Like, just like the developers.
The only real downside I have on this is that you, by definition, cannot have Coltrane in it. Right. Because they don't meet him until the first game.
Yeah. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm just like the developers. I would rather play this than Gears 6. Yeah, so I think they made the right choice. So I think generally... Gears of War E-Day had a pretty good showing at the Xbox Showcase. It was one of their things that they wanted to feature. I thought they did a good job with that. They put out a big chunk of gameplay, then they put out a polished trailer like the next day, and then they did Q&A and let the press play it after that. So I think Microsoft generally handled the franchise pretty well for this event. Next up, we talked about this, I mentioned it just a little bit ago. Halo campaign evolved. The big announcement that they made for this is that there will be 3 new prequel missions that are all brand new in this game that were never in the first Halo, which I thought was a pretty cool thing. So it includes the 10 classic missions with refined level design and all the tweaks that they've made to it for this remake, plus the 3 brand new prequel missions. This is coming on July 28th, and this is still coming to PlayStation 5. It is not coming to anything else. Or I'm sorry, it is coming to multi-platform, and it is coming to Game Pass on day one. It's As far as some of the tweaks are concerned, they talked about some of the weapons, what they're doing is they're bringing weapons from the later games into this one. So the energy sword is going to be in there. The battle rifle is in there. The other thing that you can do is you can hijack enemy vehicles in this and then pilot them, which you couldn't do in the first one. I had forgotten a lot of the stuff that wasn't in the first.
Yeah, the only thing you could drive in the first one was stuff that was specifically dropped for you.
Yeah. So now you're going to be able to just jump in any vehicle that you want to, like the Wraith tank. And then, as I said, there's 3 brand new prequel missions. They're set 1 year before the events of the actual original game. And it follows Master Chief and Sergeant Avery Johnson in these entirely new environments. I mean, it's crazy that they built these brand new levels for this, which is really freaking cool. So they haven't announced a price for this yet.
It's like they realize what people want to do.
Right. Yeah. They haven't announced a price for this yet. I think that'll be interesting to see because obviously it doesn't have multiplayer in it. So, and the campaign isn't all that long. So,
well, you're adding 3 new missions and some extra stuff. I mean, it'll have enough to it, I think.
You think it'll be a full price game?
Probably.
I think so.
I
Wow.
think so.
I think that'd be a hard sell.
Maybe like 70, but I bet it'll be at least 50.
Wow. 50 I think would be all right. I think people would be okay with that.
I'll tell you what, man. I have several people I know who have never played this game and never wanted to play this game, and they are going to play this game because of the third-person mode.
Oh, wow.
They all hate first-person games, and because the third-person thing is in this, they are going to play Halo for the first time.
Wow.
So take that for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, that's another tweak to this, is that you can play it in third person if you want to, the whole game, if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
I'll try. I don't know if I can adjust to that.
I will not.
But I will. But I'll tell you this much: making third-person option a key part of Halo going forward might be how you solve the "it looks weird compared to Call of Duty" thing without having aim down sights.
It may also help save the franchise. Honestly.
Yeah, I think that might be a thing.
Being able to see the character model and see Master Chief and. Yeah.
I mean, that was also always one of the weird things about how you constantly could alter the armor in your multiplayer characters stuff, but I never got to see it.
Right.
It's like, what's the point? What's the point looking like
only
for you,
when you win
Hayabusa,
at the end.
if only everyone else gets
the
to see
victory
me?
pose at the end is all that matters. Yeah. Yep. Also, I should go back and update you guys. I had the release date for Gears of War E-Day wrong. It is actually October 6th. And then Halo Campaign Evolved is July 28th.
We're going to have to start doing 2 shows a week in September.
Seriously. September and October.
Everyone is so afraid of GTA that they're just cramming everything in those 2 months. Honestly, in those 6 weeks.
I know. It's going to be nuts.
Ridiculous.
That's the other takeaway from this whole thing, from not E3 Summer Game Fest, is people are terrified of Grand Theft Auto 6. It's really bonkers. Literally, the whole year's worth of releases are crammed into 6 weeks, just like you said. So, definitely something that kind of struck me after the show was over, how everybody moved out of the way.
Erebus Jones, the third-person thing is a skull modifier, but I get the impression that will be unlocked when you start the game.
Well, skulls are a big thing in this in general, which didn't come along until Halo 3, if I remember correctly.
But there have been... You could find a skull in the first one, I think.
Could you?
But it wasn't it was just like an Easter egg thing.
It wasn't like a thing that modified the gameplay.
And then I think it was off that, I believe. I don't remember if that was 1 or 2, but off that, the skulls kind of became the mode that you find when you get a mode. But I think there have been Halos where you started with skulls as modifiers. I mean, certainly the Master Chief Collection started you with some.
Halo 3 was a big deal.
I don't think they're going to make you play first person till you find the third person mode. In
Probably
words.
Not.
And if that's what they're thinking of doing, they should change it, because I have a couple people that will only buy that game if they can play in third person.
I think eventually it will just be like choose.
Right.
I don't think it'll be a skull in the long run. When they figure out that people are really resonating.
I think it's just like modifiers and mutators in Halo are just done in the forms of skulls.
Yeah.
So I think it'll just be in there. In the skull menu will probably start out with
And how about this space combat and these extra missions?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, it's good, and obviously more Chief is good, more Avery is good. All that stuff. Those are the 2 best characters in the first game.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense to feature them more. So there you go. That is Halo Campaign Evolved. Again, coming July 28th to pretty much everything but Switch 2. Next up, I was kind of surprised that this made the show. Senua. The basically Hellblade 3, but it's not, because they've completely changed the gameplay and made it basically just another action game like a God of War or something like that. I'm sure.
I mean, it's like they're like, oh, you guys didn't like what we did in that second one? All right, here's God of War with Senua in it, you fuckers.
I think
and I'm like, you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, I think people have forgotten that this studio made DMC Devil May Cry and Heavenly Sword.
Yeah.
Like, they know how to handle high action combat.
Yeah.
Like,
and it would be nice to see Senua cutting loose like that.
Yeah. Well, now the last Senua, like, it had these very deliberate gameplay combat sections where you kind of it was almost like a fighting game where you go to this separate screen to have the battle or whatever. Which I was surprised because, again, this studio knows how to do real-time combat very, very well. This one, they're going right back to that. This is not at all like the last two Hellblade games are concerned. Do you think they're smart to take Hellblade out of the title?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think you're moving away from the expectations of what those are and getting kind of a clean break. And you get away from the idea that, like, you have to play the other two to play this.
Yeah. Do you think there will still be some kind of a psychological angle to this?
I'm sure. You can already see.
Feels like there has to
she's
be.
Drowning in a literal metaphor.
Right.
In a couple of the shots here. So it'll be fine.
Yeah. I think probably they'll have about as much of that as I wanted from the first two games.
Right.
When it was the whole game.
Just less walking.
Yeah.
Please. Like, it's just so slow.
I'm also surprised at how quickly this game is, like, being shown.
Those guys are fast.
Damn, this is coming in 2027.
I wonder if some of this is like maybe because they took so long on 2 that it's like was that partly like a struggle, maybe even internally between, like, do we want it to be more action or more story driven, and kind of one out, but it meant they had a whole lot of stuff left over to make this other action focused game almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like, you wonder how much of this is going to be like stuff that was kind of cut from 2.
But, like, that's too actiony. Like, it's not going to fit in these other games that we've been making. I think it looks great. I'm way more excited for this than I was for any other Hellblade. It also kind of establishes Hellblade as kind of a competitor for God of War.
I was more excited for 2, but in the sense that I thought 2 was going to expand out what it was far more, because those early things they were showing, like with on the beach and the giant faceless human thing crawling, like it looked, and her like
it looked like people. It was going to be this.
It looked like it was going to have. It also looked like it had a lot more systems in it. Like maybe she was going to lead people. You're going to build like a village or something like that. Like it looked like it was going to really expand out into more of an action RPG thing, and it didn't.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this. Also, Xbox doesn't have a game like this. It doesn't have a competitor, quote unquote, for God of War.
Yeah.
And so this is a hole in their software lineup, and they're about to fill it. And I have a lot of faith in Ninja Theory that they can fill it with aplomb. So I'm excited for this. Again, it's coming in 2027. It's not far away at all. And I'm not sure actually if this is announced for PS5, but I do know that it is announced day one for Game Pass. So yeah, it seems like all their games are going day one Game Pass except for Call of Duty going
Eth Demon says Halo is $50.
$50. Perfect. That's exactly what we were hoping. Thank you, Eth Demon. Thanks, chat. You guys always help us out. Next game.
And
Fable.
Vincent says Senua is on PS5.
It is PS5? Okay. Next game, Fable. This game kind of had a muted presentation at the actual showcase. They put out a new trailer, which was good. It may be like the best trailer that they put out for it so far. But it didn't really show anything that we hadn't seen already. And then, to what we were talking about earlier, about how they were embargoing journalists covering stuff, yesterday, like, all these previews go up for the game, and Microsoft released its own, like, 30-minute chunk of gameplay, finally, where you get to actually see what the heck this thing is. And, man, the social stuff in this is insane. I mean, insane, Matt. Like, as far as, like, you can marry everybody. Like, you can go to a part of the world and just take it over. You can marry everybody. You can own every piece of real estate. It can be Shane Town if you want it to be, or Video Game Town. But seriously, like, all that stuff, the relationship stuff and everything, I thought they might cut that down for this. Oh, no.
I was hoping that they'd take all the promise of those things in the old Fables and really make them what they could have been.
And it feels like that's what they're doing. Yeah. The other thing I'd say, too, is that the scope of what they showed, I can see why the game was delayed.
Yeah.
Like, it may have been ready, but, man, when you have so many systems working together, you can almost never stop polishing.
And this is also one of those things where it's like, if this stuff doesn't at least kind of mostly work at launch, you're never getting that back.
No, you're right.
You're never getting that first impression back.
And we did get its release date
You don't want to have to do a No Man's Sky with this thing.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft is probably not going to let you do that.
Yeah. So, we knew it was delayed. Did we know it was February before? Like the month? Or did we just know early 2027?
They did. The delay from like last week.
Yeah.
I think they did say February.
Did they?
I want to say I did know February.
Now we have the specific date. It is launching February 23rd. And again, it's coming for everything and Game Pass day one. My hype for this game went up. It didn't with the showcase, but after I watched the 30 minutes of gameplay that they put out separately, which is on SIFTD if you want to check it out, this game just went up into the stratosphere. Mm-hmm. And now I am, at first, Matt, whenever they delayed Fable, I was like, oh, it must have been bad. So, like, Matt got hooked up by it. And then I watched the 30-minute demo, and now I'm like, because Matt has this game on his fantasy team, but he has Pokemon Pokopia as his first alternate. So Matt was kind of rooting for something to get delayed so Pokemon Pokopia would count on his team, and it was Fable. And at first I was like, oh, this is great. Like, or this sucks because maybe Fable wasn't going to be that good. I wish that they had released it anyway. Mm-hmm. And as it turns out, no, Fable's going to be really good. And I can maybe dodge the bullet. Yeah. Although Pokopia has, like an 8.8 or something like that. So who knows?
Pokopia is we're fine.
Yeah. I think you did pretty well on that exchange. So
it's Pokopia is still probably rated higher than this, Will.
Yeah. You're probably right. So anyway, it's now delayed to February 23rd, but what they showed, not necessarily in the showcase, but what they showed later on was very, very compelling. Again, if you've been following this game, I highly recommend go to SIFTD.net, just search for Fable, and it's right there. 30 minutes of uninterrupted gameplay with narration to explain everything. It's awesome. So I was impressed by what I saw of Fable at Not E3 2026. Next up, Spyro. Finally, Matt, a brand new Spyro video game. The first one in 18 years. Which seems crazy.
When was the last one? Are you counting Skylanders?
No. It was
4?
3, I think it was. I think there's only been 3.
Wasn't there 4?
I thought there was 3 main
Wasn't
lines.
there one with Elijah Wood?
Yes.
Where they kind of rebooted it for a couple
I think that was the last one. But I think that was...
There were 3 of them on just in the original trilogy. And then they did like reboot one.
Did they?
They did like old tween Spyro. you know what I mean? Like there were other ones.
Yeah.
There were Dawn of the Dragon. That's what it was.
That was the last one.
They did 2 like ones with Elijah Wood voicing.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Yeah. That was the last one, Dawn of the Dragon. Yeah. And that was 18 years ago.
But the original 3 were Spyro, Ripto's Rage, and
Ripto's Revenge, I think was one of them. Yeah.
Well, there have been like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah. And this franchise has been made by various developers throughout its history, and now it also has a new one, but a very good new one. Yeah. This is being made by Toys for Bob.
Yeah, I mostly appreciated that they came out and said, like, we just didn't want to be, like, a sweatshop for Call of Duty. And
in their interviews, they were careful with how they said things, but you're right. Ultimately, they were like, man, our future was going to be a support studio in Call of Duty.
And they're like, we're better than that. I'm like, I mean, they didn't say it outright, but it's like,
they are.
But they are better than that.
And they basically said that they had to work magic to get out of that deal, and that they're so lucky that it happened. And now here they are making the new Spyro game. This is a perfect fit of developer and IP.
Well, almost.
Well,
the perfect fit of developer IP for Toys for Bob is Star Control.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Spyro. You go back to his original developer.
No, that's also, but like, if you're gonna pie in the sky, let Toys for Bob make Star. I mean, again, there's a Star Control equivalent coming through Kickstarter. I mean, that's in process in some form. But yeah, this is also good.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. It's taken way too freaking long for this to happen, but it's finally coming. And it is a 2027 game. It is PS5, Xbox One. It's also a Game Pass game, which is crazy. And they're saying spring 2027. So it's also coming to Switch too. The only thing they talked about the actual game is that you can free fly now. It's not like a special condition for you to fly. You can just jump and fly up into the air whenever you want to. So my guess is there's going to be a lot more missions, flying missions, where you're flying through rings and crap like that, like they do in every.
And I'm sure there'll be like I imagine. Usually when I hear that now, it's like, okay, so you were inspired by Tears of the Kingdom to put a sky world and a normal world in the game.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm excited for that. It's the first new Spyro in almost 2 decades. We've been waiting a long time for it, and they found pretty much the perfect developer to handle it. So I was pretty excited about that. Next up,
can another mascot from the 90s
I know,
find his way back to the spotlight?
After Bubsy. If Bubsy can do it, anyone can do it.
If Croc can do it.
Yeah, or if Glover can do it, anyone can
Glover.
do it. Next
Quest
up,
64 remake when?
Seriously. That game may end up being like a remake of Superman 64 flying through the rings, which is all that game was. Next up, maybe the most disappointing thing at all of Summer Game Fest / Not E3, and that is the debut of Persona 6. Not because we aren't excited that we're getting Persona 6 or it was
I didn't know what
announced,
this was immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I'm just like, oh, this is Persona 6, and I can't tell you why I know that, but that is what it is.
Yeah, all we got was this, like...
I mean, we're getting Persona 4 to fill the time between this, but like I'm looking at this and I'm just like, okay, so I'll see you in like 2029.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way.
You're still showing concept art.
Pretty much.
It's like...
Well, the other thing, too, is that like so much stuff for this game leaked.
Yeah.
And at first we didn't run the leaks because they were on some like goofy forum in Japan. And I was like, nope, I'm not going that far. I'm like, I am not posting this stuff. And I didn't. And then a week later, they posted more of it, and Atlas made them take it down. I was like, that stuff was real.
Yeah, it was real.
And I was overly cautious. So they've already shown, like, the crew, basically, already. There's leaked art of the 5 new... Are they going to be called Phantom Thieves? Probably not.
No, the Phantom Thieves
They'll be
are
called
from
something
5.
else. Yeah.
The crew are always different things.
Yeah. But they did say that it's, you can count on the same stuff from this as you would any other Persona. Here's the boilerplate that they sent me. A bold, standalone story with a new cast of characters. The game will continue the series' signature dual-life gameplay, blending heartfelt everyday school life in modern-day Japan with occult supernatural. And also, the game's official color is green. And I don't know if you know this or not, people watching or listening, but every Persona has a color. And this game's color is green. So
3 was blue, 4 is yellow.
And perfect to debut in the
5
Xbox
is red.
Showcase because their color's green as well. So that all lined up.
And it's the most watched trailer of this presentation.
Is it?
Yeah, by far.
Really? I mean, I shouldn't be that surprised.
Do not underestimate
Oh, it's huge.
the Persona.
It feels like anything anime, Japan.
But anyone trying to sell the Atelier games will tell you that's not true.
Yeah, that's actually a good
Persona
point.
is very, very popular.
It
that
is,
that is the lesson.
There's no doubt about it. Yep. So anyway, we didn't learn much about Persona 6, but it was announced. We don't even know like the year that it's coming out or anything. Like,
I think it's a ways off.
yeah, I think
especially because
right.
there's that Persona 4 thing, and then I think there's another Persona 5 project in the pipeline.
Oh, really?
There's another Persona 5 spin-off thing happening.
How much more can you milk that?
As much as you can.
For 50 million units, apparently.
Yeah.
And then, so, on the heels of, one of the most disappointing things of Not E3 2026 comes, I think, one of the biggest pleasant surprise of the whole thing, and that is Crazy Taxi World Tour.
Well, this has an unpleasant surprise as
Well, what, the AI stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, every game is made with AI.
Not Gears of War.
Yeah.
They very, very much came out was like, there is no Gen AI in this game.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. And it's like, do you know who your new boss is?
the
The thing about this one that's annoying is that like they went on about how it's like, oh, we're just using for like reference and like, yeah, if only there were pictures of San Francisco you could look at. Also, the original Crazy Taxi was made by like 20 people.
Yeah.
So I assure you can do this without that. It's just
this one does look like a massive upgrade over the original Crazy Taxi. I mean,
I don't know. I don't think we necessarily know that till we see more uninterrupted gameplay.
Yeah.
Because remember, they've tried to recreate the magic on this before.
They have.
And they have not succeeded.
That's true. And this one is way different than other Crazy Taxis as well. Like, it's set in like a bunch of different cities, thus the world tour name.
I mean, that's a good idea. I think more variety in location is good. Although, I mean, I know that there's some people that are saying like the one of the key aspects of Crazy Taxi is getting to know the environment so perfectly that you can get the best times and do a okay, we'll just do that 4 times. Who cares? Like multiple cities is good for people. Who, it's going to be an easier sell to normal people.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree. Yep. And for the first time ever, it has like a real campaign with like characters with voice acting.
Yeah,
and a story.
This feels like it could be a backfire very
could.
easily.
Yeah.
Hopefully it seems like they have the tone right, and at least it's like they got Offspring back, so that's good. I mean, if it doesn't start with you, like what's the point? Like you can't.
Yeah.
Like any remaster they've done of this where they didn't pay for the music was instantly a failure.
You're right.
Because you can't it's like I'm not even playing the same game at that point.
It's also going to have multiplayer modes plus an option to experience the original Crazy Taxi if you want to. The World Tour is a story-driven campaign. Players play as Axel, which is he's kind of the big star of the franchise. He's basically chasing down mysterious masked villains who stole his taxi.
And what's he driving?
Right. I guess he got a loaner. I don't know.
A different taxi?
Yeah. But one thing that they wanted to make sure that they could do is give more freedom to the player. So you can like drive into the ocean in this game and actually pick up people in the ocean for fares, which is kind of nuts.
Sure, why not?
You can also fish in this game. You can drive to the pier and like pull out a fishing rod and fish in the water.
I think that's legally required at this point.
Yeah, maybe. You can...
every game has to have fishing. That's a rule now.
You can pick up stacks of pizzas. They show that a lot in the trailer. And then a big part of it is trying to make sure that the stack doesn't fall over, so you have to drive a little more carefully. There's actually 5 locations, not 4. Each one has their own set of missions. Some are standalone, some are story-based. There's a night and day system in the game. There's a bunch of side missions, like fishing, like I mentioned. And then it still has like the crazy dash and the crazy drift and the nitrous boost. So the tenets, the fundamentals of the franchise are the same, and sort of the design of it and how you play it is the same, but just way more content. I think a lot more of a budget probably dedicated to this, even relatively speaking compared to the Dreamcast.
I mean, of all the ones that they are kind of reimagining or redoing, of all the they Shinobi and Jet Set Radio and all that they announced like forever ago.
Yeah.
This is the one with the most breakout potential, I would say. And probably the most well known, I would say, from the casual market.
I will say this too, like even
everybody knows Crazy Taxi.
I'll say, like I was gonna say, I think there are probably a lot of younger kids don't know what it is, but that doesn't matter because it's such a simple concept.
Yeah, you get it in the first 5 seconds.
You don't even need an elevator pitch. The title of the game. Oh, I'm a taxi driver driving crazy. Yeah, like that's a no-brainer. Like I don't think it matters that the younger generations don't know about this. No, franchise.
You don't need to. You don't need an explanation to this, really.
I was pleasantly surprised by Crazy Taxi. You're right, the AI sucks, but like as the week has gone on, so many games have got busted for AI. Like literally like a dozen at this point. Like for me, it just feels like everybody's using it, and it's like either you admit it or you don't.
Everybody's going to use it for like Claude or for like the various and that's more or less how it works as a tool. Mm-hmm. You do not need it for your art.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
For anything. Yep. I assure you. Yep. Ever. And certainly you don't need it for the goddamn script.
Yeah.
Like, at least most places most people seem to have realized that very quickly that you cannot have it write the script.
Yeah.
Even the board game companies that are using it for all
figured
their
that
art
out.
Are like, okay, we need humans to write the story. Okay, we admit that. Okay. But like, we've made literally tens of thousands of video games have been made without it. You don't need it for your art. I'm sorry that a bunch of I'm sure there's a bunch of
they're
artists
just trying to save a buck. That's all it is.
But like, you don't save any money if you're just having
redo it over and over.
Oh, a human artist has to redo the whole. Like, why don't you just have them draw it? I guarantee you, if they're good enough to redraw on top of it, they're good enough to just draw it in the first place.
Yeah.
And then you get people that are getting accused of it, which is like. There's a card in the new Marvel expansion that some guy was accused of. It's just kids reading a comic book, and it's like, oh, it's AI, and it's like, it's not AI. The one kid's face just sucks.
Yeah.
And like, so the artist who's done
false alarms
tons
now.
and tons.
Yeah.
He's actually a great artist, but like, there's a
one-off image.
Right, but what
AI.
also if anyone who reads comics knows that even the greatest comic book artists. A lot of them suck at drawing children.
Oh, interesting.
We don't know why, but just children are different. Like there's a whole Facebook group just dedicated to bad babies in comic books, where it's like that is clearly drawn by someone who has seen what a child looks like. But it's like he posted a video of him, like the whole thing from the sketch to the and the funny thing is, as you go through, the one kid with a weird face, he looks totally fine through like 98% of the video, and at the very end, like one of the last like 3 layers of changes is the face becomes the fucked up weird face, and I'm like, okay, so that was a studio note. Like that wasn't even the artist. That was somebody who couldn't be told no told him to change it to this thing, and he did, and now it looks weird, and now they accuse because of that somebody accused me. And some of that is because if you think this one artist you love looks like AI, it's because that artist's work has all been fed into the algorithm, and the algorithm is spitting out copycats of it. So you can't. It's again, just draw the billboard.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
You're fine. I guarantee you're going to have to redo the text anyway, because it's going to be gibberish no matter what.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Well, next up, a game that, at least so far, has not been associated with AI development, and that is State of Decay 3. The first real...
Although if anybody needs a shortcut,
yeah,
it's these guys.
That was my joke, is like, this is the game that actually could use AI to make it better, probably, of all of them. But this one, so far, has not been accused of using AI. But this is the gameplay trailer for this, and this is a whole trailer full of in-engine stuff. We've been getting a bunch of CG stuff from this game. We got a couple snippets of gameplay in the last trailer. This is just all in-engine stuff. And kind of to my point about Gears of War, it doesn't appear that this franchise has changed hardly at all for this third entry. But I'll be honest, Matt, no one else is really doing this. So
I will say it is different in the sense of the focus of what they're doing, because while and you can see it in the voiceover where they're talking about it's war now, and they don't really care about what started the whole thing. The other games were very, and I too did move towards this to some degree, but the other games were very much like, if you can avoid them, avoid them. Like basically, you're trying to keep your community running without raising too many problems with the monsters. And in this, it looks like, I mean, obviously you didn't have to hunt down Nest, but like fighting the Nest was like a big deal. Like you had to be ready for that.
Oh yeah, that was like you planned that.
And in this, it feels like they're encouraging you to be prepared for conflict in a more constant and active and proactive maybe way.
That's an improvement.
And that is a very different approach to this, and I think that is probably a good direction to take.
I agree.
Because if you can balance it as being like a more proactive action shooty game, plus the base management, I think that's the balance that's been missing.
If they could just release this game relatively bug-free, it would be huge. Because what happens with this game is it comes out, it's a mess. And you play it, and you're like, you know what? I like this. I'm having fun with it. But you try to tell other people about it, and all they find when they search for it online is that it's broken.
And eventually they do fix it, but it's too late.
Right. Like, they need to make sure when they get this game out that it's in a playable state and not completely busted. And if they do, this game could do huge. It really could. But
well, I think it's kind of a Fable thing. It's like, this all has to work when you release it.
Agreed. Yeah. So I thought this was a good showing for State of Decay 3. I honestly thought this game might be canceled. Right now, there's rumors floating around that there's big layoffs coming to Xbox before the end of the month.
No doubt. Like, just the comments that Asha was making about overextension and
they issued a statement last night that said there are layoffs coming because what happened was Jason Schreier broke the story and said, and someone sent me an email saying that layoffs are coming, and once he broke it, then Asha issued a statement that she sent out to all of Xbox and to the press where she says, yes, layoffs are definitely coming.
Well, she also specifically said they spent too much money and overextended on first-party studio acquisition, which makes me think that some studios are going to be shut down.
Well, today, a story surfaced that at least one studio is being...
If I were at Obsidian, I would be very nervous.
I think it's more likely this studio, honestly.
Not before they finish this game.
Undead Labs.
Not before they finish this game.
Maybe.
Not immediately.
Because there's been problems at this studio.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. But not until they finish this. It wouldn't have shown this game.
Yeah.
If they weren't going to let them finish
it might be Obsidian. Because it puts out a bunch of games, but they're not.
Obsidian does amazing work, but no one buys them.
No one, yeah.
And it's criminal.
It's like, but that's the facts.
And again, I would
imagine if they close Obsidian.
Yeah, it would completely suck.
People would freak.
Because if there's anyone you want to keep around almost as like a boutique, like nobody buys these games, but they're really good to have in your portfolio, sort of thing.
All of it is, I just think it's the topic and the tone of their games. Like if they made just a different setting, different characters, like if somebody helped them with that, like their games on their own, I love playing them, but they just don't appeal to a wide audience. So
it's like that, and Pillars of Eternity also doesn't appeal to a wide audience because it's more of a straight up CRPG thing.
Yep.
Which, to be fair, is their own. They
that
own that
thing.
separately.
Yeah.
And they are doing a lot of stuff. They just updated the first Pillars of Eternity to have a turn-based option, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what you do. Like, there's nothing they're doing wrong. Like, they're making great versions of these games. They're also some of the only people doing anything even close to what Bethesda does.
I know.
I
don't think they'll kill Obsidian. I just think there's too much value there, even though I agree with you. Their games have not sold the way Microsoft or anybody would want them to. I do think there could be some simple tweaks to make their games more appealing. So, I don't know, but that's the rumor. Maybe they don't cut a studio at all, but that is what came across the wire today, is that they're reporting that at least one
certainly
studio's
sounded from her, if you read between the lines on what she was saying, it really sounds like she thinks they have too many first-party studios.
Yep, sounds that way. Next up, another game that really blew my doors off and impressed me in this showcase is Metro 2039. I have never really cared about the Metro franchise at all. But after watching this trailer, I care about this game. At first, I thought this was Wolfenstein. when they started showing it. I was like, oh, Wolfenstein 3. I didn't expect to see that, and it wasn't. It was Metro 2039. It also gives off a very strong killing Nazis vibe, which is something I'm always going to get behind. So I was really impressed with this once they start showing the gameplay. Like, I think this was one of the best looking games in the whole week, honestly. So I was really, really impressed with this. Also, the fact that they've already started talking about how they're changing the tone of the game, the pacing of the game. It's not sort of this very slow, deliberate survival horror shooter anymore. It's kind of more a generic shooter, which I know people wouldn't want to hear that. But I think for these guys' games, that's exactly what you want to hear. For me, because to me, they were different in a way I didn't want shooters to be different, I guess. And I'm sure they have an audience of people that love exactly what they do, but I think if they want to make money...
The Metro games have always felt like, look, either be Wolfenstein or be Stalker.
Yeah.
But don't do this, like,
thing in the middle
thing that I just don't really feel like you nail either one.
Yeah, this is, according to them, be way more action focused. So we'll see. We've heard this before, and it turned out to be a bunch of bollocks. So
we've heard it before, and it turned out to be Wolfenstein.
Right.
It's like you never know.
But man, the graphics in this game look stunning. Man, it is definitely one of the best looking games coming.
They have always been graphical stunners.
Yeah.
The Metro has always been that.
Yep.
It's just so much of it is just like sewers and monsters that you don't always appreciate it as much.
Yeah. This is coming on February 27th. Already, the early part of 2027 is starting to look
mere
awesome.
4 days after Fable.
People are learning, though, that like you can put games out early in the year and make a lot of money still.
Yeah.
Like they're learning from Capcom, honestly. So that's good to see. That's Metro 2039. Again, it's coming on February 27th. Another game that I thought was freaking awesome. Magicians, The Devil's Deal. Did you check this game out at all?
I am skeptical on this one.
How come?
Because it looks too much like Dishonored for my taste.
It does. But it's so cool, man.
I mean, I like the idea. It just, I don't know, something about it looks like it's not going to play very well.
Really? It seems way more action-y than Dishonored to me.
Yeah, and that's the problem is like once you speed Dishonored up, it kind of sucks.
Because this is a first-person. The genre that they describe it as is a first-person shooter. Mm-hmm. They don't try to say it's like an immersive sim or anything.
I think this. I like the aesthetic. I like what they're doing. I like the elevator pitch for this is great.
Yeah.
I was not super encouraged by what I see here, but obviously you don't see a lot that's really probably full-on gameplay.
I thought it looked awesome. Everything about it. So the setting for this game is you are a magician who has been betrayed by your colleagues, and they send you to hell. And you get to hell, and the devil's like, man, your colleagues are a bunch of jerks. I can help you out with that. And so you make a deal with the devil. And basically, you are in hell, and you are in a race to escape hell before it's too late. And using, as a magician, all your magic tricks, your card tricks, your illusions, your ability to elevate things, and all that stuff all comes into play in the first-person combat.
Yeah, I would watch the movie. I have a lot of questions about the gameplay.
How come?
Because it doesn't show how you're switching between the tricks. It doesn't show how the tricks are limited and how they recharge. It doesn't show like when you earn them versus how you up. You don't know anything about how this stuff is going to flow in terms of what the actual. Because obviously you're way too powerful in what's happening in this. It's just showing a little like almost like a vertical slice sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, just like I always wonder with something like Dishonored or equivalent, what are the limitations on your abilities? How are you going to make this not fun, basically? Because that is what these games always end up doing. It always ends up being like, well, you can do this really cool thing, but you can do it like once every 5 minutes. And like, I need to see an actual demo of this before I get excited about it, because it's a very cool idea. It's a very cool concept. I would watch the movie. I would watch the animated series, but I need to see how you're doing the gameplay in this first.
That little montage there at the end that lasts like 20 seconds or whatever, there's some awesome stuff in there, man.
Oh, the animation's great, but the gameplay is never shown.
Yeah.
We don't know how this is...
There's that little segment where it just clips together.
Right, but we don't know how where's the HUD, where's the mana, where's the anything, how are you switching inventory from one trick to the other? How smooth does that work? I have endless questions about how this game is going to play before I get any kind of excited about it. As a person who likes magic and this weird sort of like, Victorian, all this and weird magical realist deals with the devil and I mean, that was great.
Yeah.
Like I think the thing where he's running towards the camera and they're just rotating the puppet back and forth. That's ingenious.
Yeah.
Like, really, the graphic design, the art design is impeccable. But I don't trust this thing's gameplay until I see way more of it.
Yeah.
And I think we have plenty of time to see way more of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what this is about, though. I mean, E3 has always been this way. It's like, hey, here's this trailer.
Well, it's funny.
Sometimes it delivers on it. Sometimes it doesn't.
This felt like a return to, we're not afraid to show you stuff that's like a year away.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, that was not the rule.
Yeah.
You know, this felt very much like Microsoft had lost the fear of showing you stuff that was far enough out that you maybe need to wait for it for a while.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you remember they did get spooked about how, you know, stuff that was taking so long, and like there was like, we're just not going to show you anything unless it's coming out this year.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a mistake if you have something that's as visually interesting as this game and you can show it now, you might as well show it now.
Yeah. This is coming in 2027. It is also day one on Game Pass. And it is multi-platform. It's not an Xbox exclusive, but, you know.
Who's making... They say who's making this?
It's being published by Focus Interactive.
Yeah, I know it's Focus. I didn't catch
I can't remember the developer. It's on SIFTD. If you go to its game page, it's on there. But yeah, this is called Magicians, The Devil's Deal. And it's coming in 2027 multi-platform and Game Pass on day one. Next up, a game that at one time I thought looked really cool and clever, and that was before they started showing the actual game. And that is a game called Clockwork Revolution.
So kind of exactly what I just said.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like the first trailer for this, it just showed like the time traveling mechanics and stuff. It looked really cool. The more they have shown of the plot and the characters, the less interested I've become in it.
I'm not like down on it like that, but I am surprised that it seems to like be another heist story, which is like I don't dislike any of these characters or anything, but it does feel like there's a little bit of a bait and switch in terms of like the teaser versus what the actual story is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure those will be involved. That stuff will be involved in it.
Cinetype tells us that the developer of Magicians is Uppercut Games.
Uppercut Games. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna dismiss this one. I do like this guy.
Yeah.
I like that he's the big strong guy, but he knows everything about clothing.
Right.
And like he's like, oh, cheap stitching. Like that's a good. There's a lot of good ideas here.
Oh, this game could be awesome.
But, like,
I just think its appeal is so limited. I just don't think most people.
Oh, it was not gonna sell.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. I think you're probably keeping this as an Xbox exclusive because you know that it's not worth printing the discs for the
and you've already
PS5
put a bunch
version.
of money into it. It's almost done.
But again,
this game should not have been greenlit.
This is also, I mean, I can see why you greenlight this in the era it was greenlit. I don't think it would be greenlit now.
Yeah. Now it's too late
because now you need hit. And a lot of this is, you know, there's a little bit of Obsidian in this. There's a little bit, but again, that is just more argument not to greenlight.
Right.
Like I like that exchange where he's just like, "What if I put a bullet?" He's like, "Oh, you've been cleared. Thank you."
No, the writing and voice acting
is
great.
Fun.
It's just, I think for a lot of people, it's very uninteresting.
Yeah, I mean, it's steampunk.
Yeah,
it's a clock punk. None of this stuff has ever been a hit.
Yeah.
There's never been a hit steampunk.
No, there
anything.
really hasn't. Yeah, that's true.
It's just not. It's because it's a setting. It's not a genre.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a lot. I mean, again, I have the same misgivings that I did about The Devil's Due. I have the same misgivings about it in the sense that it looks so much like Bioshock Infinite, which I also thought was an underwhelming use of the concept it was going for.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it looks like a lot of that was sort of the intro to this, and that like those characters we just met will be very different in this era that you end up in.
Right.
Which is an interesting idea, but again, we got a long time before we need to worry about what the final product is.
Yeah.
I like this where it's like your choices can make the future turn out to be very different in terms of like what these buildings are and the successful things. This looks like they tweaked how this thing
does
because he was a lot jerkier and stop motionier in the
almost
original
like
teaser.
Kojima's little puppet guy from Death Stranding. Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing. This is an Xbox exclusive. It's never coming to PlayStation 5, just like Gears of War E-Day. So those are the two games that Microsoft has decided that they're going to keep exclusive to Xbox consoles.
Yeah. And it feels like they've decided for polar opposite reasons on both of those games. Like
one, because it's awesome.
We want E-Day all to ourselves. And this one, it's like,
why? Let's just throw them a bone because we're never going to sell this anyway.
I would imagine, unless they really mess something up in terms of the feel, like the moment-to-moment gameplay feel, I imagine I'm going to like this game.
Yeah.
But I think you're right in that it is not going to move any needle for them.
I mean, I think they chose the right game to make exclusive. Because it's just, they're not going to lose
and
a
I
lot
hate
of
to
money
say
on
it because it's like, you want to see stuff that looks different and does
Do
weird
well.
shit. And
Yeah.
you want to see that happen. I mean, to say this shouldn't be greenlit is also to kind of say that, like, Expedition 33 shouldn't be greenlit.
Yeah.
Because it's just as weird and esoteric.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less obscene. But, but again, this also does feel like it falls in that category of, like, Dishonored's and Prey and Obsidian that just doesn't seem to catch.
Lots of details to keep track of if you're learning about the game, if you're playing the game. Yeah, I see where you would get that correlation between the two. It is coming in 2027. Xbox, PC, and Game Pass, but we don't have a hard date for it yet. So we'll let you know, or just keep your browser tuned to Sifted, and you'll know all about it when it gets announced. Next up, we got the release date for the new Castlevania, Belmont's Curse. It is coming on October 15th, so just in time for Halloween. Another game in October or September. There are so freaking many. October is just ridiculous how many awesome games come out every week in October. It's crazy. I mean, we're going to be covering October's games into, like, December, I think, Matt. Like,
Probably.
That's how packed it is. So,
well, we can't just do 4 weeks on GTA. So.
Right. Although people may want that, but that's not going to happen. Did you watch this trailer?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Looks good to me.
Do you think it looks like Castlevania?
It looks like Castlevania post Hades.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clearly influenced by Hades. The artist is actually someone prominent. I can't remember what they did.
I mean, I like the art. I like the look of the game. I don't know if I like the art and the look of the game for Castlevania.
I think it works for Castlevania, especially in the wake of the Netflix show. Like,
that's true. That has kind of changed perception a little bit. Yeah.
The gameplay is going to be hard to get used to, I think, because it feels very busy in a way that Castlevania normally isn't.
Yeah.
But I also think you got to do something to change it up and make it feel, because if you're gonna continue to stall to do a 3D Castlevania, or to at least finally come to From Software and be like, please make our 3D Castlevania for us because you already did Dark Souls and that's what Castlevania
that's what
be.
it is. Yeah.
It feels like you got to change it up a little bit and making this kind of look more of like a Hades thing. I mean, it's vibrant. The characters are memorable. It's got a lot going for it.
I think it's more of the gameplay that's kind of thrown me off a little bit.
It looks like it's Castlevania made in a post-Hades, post-Dead Cells, post-Blasphemous world.
I just don't see a lot of, like, the power-ups where you have stuff like hovering around you and you kind of learn how to move through the levels and, like, take out enemies. Like,
well, we don't know enough about the moment.
I mean, it's a short gameplay trailer, so yeah, I'm probably inferring too much on what's shown here, but just gave me.
I mean, we've had that ability since like the Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, but I just watched this, and I was a little after I finished, I was like, is that Castlevania? Does that look and feel like Castlevania?
I mean, my answer to that is, who gives a shit?
I mean, I do. I'm a huge Castlevania fan.
Castlevania doesn't exist anymore. Castlevania hasn't had a new entry in how long?
I mean, that's true, but Iga's games to me are Castlevania games.
Sure, but that was 20 years ago.
No, I'm talking about his new ones.
Bloodstained?
Yeah.
Sure, but like that's Bloodstained now.
I mean, that's Castlevania.
This
to me
is
less like Castlevania.
There are people who will say those games are not and never were Castlevania because they're Metroidvanias, and Castlevania should be Castlevania 1 and 3, action games that take you through a big, like, linear game.
Yeah. To me, Iga's games look more like Castlevania than this one does.
Well, Iga's games are Iga's games, and now Castlevania's trying something different. So we'll see what it turns out to be.
It could be great. Just after I watched it, that's just the first thing that came to mind. That doesn't seem like Castlevania to me.
Free your mind, innovation boy. We're trying to do something new here.
All right. And then just a couple more from Xbox. Doom: The Dark Ages is getting not DLC, but a full-on expansion called Revelations. Another game with a subtitle Revelations.
A lot of revealing going on.
It's insane.
It's almost like the new Origin.
Seriously. This one's coming on July 7th, and it's set in Purgatory. And it's basically like an all-new campaign that they're selling for $20. You can buy it totally standalone if you want to. They said you don't really need to know the story from the base game to understand what's going on in this.
I mean, it's Doom.
Yeah, I
you
mean, Matt and I,
you know the story.
Yeah. Matt and I, big fans of the base game when we reviewed it here on GameFace.
I do appreciate that they break the shield in the first 5 seconds of this thing. It's like, all right, not doing that anymore. Now you got a spear.
Yeah, there's a new weapon called the Chain Spear. You can use it to parry, reflect projectiles, and grapple to ledges. They also said that the level design is more like Metroidvania in this.
Well, and also near the end, they show like there's basically a reimagining of an original Doom level.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Which makes sense in Purgatory. You're going to have to relive all your sins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, which is pretty cool. So I thought this was really good.
Also super weird to see the Slayer with the helmet off.
I know. I think they're trying to turn him into a character that can actually talk.
I don't think
and
that's going to happen.
I don't
think
either.
That should happen.
I think that's what they're trying to do, though. They're like, man, we can't have a silent protagonist.
Or at least we got to sell some different action figures.
Right. Now you can take the helmet off or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, that is Doom the Dark Ages Revelations. Again, that's coming out on July 7th. And then the final thing we're going to talk about from the Xbox Showcase is Wolong 2, the sequel to Team Ninja's dark fantasy action RPG, which I actually liked the first Wolong, and I don't like a lot of Souls-likes. And this is definitely a Souls-like light.
That one. That was the yeah, I don't think I like that one.
Yeah. I don't know if you played
There's too many.
I think I may have reviewed it on my own.
I think you did because I played the demo and that was enough.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
If I remember right.
Yep. This is coming in early 2027 to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series.
Like, look, man, I'm barely hanging on to the interest for Onimusha. I'm not.
Did you play the demo that they put out? That's like a cakewalk.
No.
Well, they had to come out and say that the final game won't be as easy as the demo because it was way too easy. But yeah, so
I just think Onimusha, the demo of this or the demo of Onimusha?
Onimusha.
Yeah, Onimusha more interesting to me because of how the parrying, deflecting, like the sword play looks more interesting than Onimusha has ever been.
Yeah.
This looks like I've played it before.
Yeah. And there you go. That's the Xbox
At least
Showcase.
it has some color in it, though.
Yeah. I would say that is the best event of Summer Game Fest, not E3 2026.
Probably.
As far as, like, it was an hour long, it was loaded, there was hardly any filler. Like, I have the whole log
there's some
here.
stuff like I'm excited about in the Summer Games Fest thing, but in terms of like batting average, I'd say the Xbox one is.
I hardly cut anything out of it for our discussion. I cut out Resonance of Plague Tale. I cut out.
I'm interested in that one.
Yep, it looks good.
I like the Plague Tale stuff.
I cut out Sea of Thieves, Bad Magpie, Join Us, which actually did catch my eye. That's like a cult simulator where you actually defend your cult like killing people, which I thought was pretty cool. I cut out Fallout 76, Age of Empires 4, Minecraft Dungeons 2, Valor Mortis, Flight Sim 2024, and that's pretty much it. Vivarium. So it was a really, really good showcase from Xbox, and I think the best of the whole thing. I still struggle to give it an A. I would probably give it a B plus or maybe an A minus, but it was really freaking good. They even had hardware in there.
B plus is probably where it sits.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. So it was really good to see Xbox deliver despite all this uncertainty that's going on right now. Let's check in with chat very quickly. Let's get your letter grades for the Xbox Showcase very quickly, if you guys can. I'm surprised you guys haven't started doing it already. I am bummed we're not talking about Plague Tale. All right, I hear you. That was the last game that did not make the cut, to be fair. But we have to cut it somewhere because we have 2 other things to get through in this episode here. AJ says B, E Demon Air A minus, Emperor Dread C minus, Too Quick Capri C, Jam Rain B. Any others want to get your glitter grades in here? Cinetite B plus, Lagathor B minus, Vincent a B. Silk Snake, do I not like games? There was nothing that I want to play. Maybe Fable if it's good. Maybe you don't like games.
I mean, an argument can be made.
I mean, you said it, not me. Justin Horman.
Honestly, the fact that I didn't instantly end up turning off the Gears of War stuff is a victory for them all by itself, because I thought I was done with that series, but like E-Day looks pretty good.
Yeah. Justin Horman, flat A for me. I was a big fan of the E-Day stuff. Sir Spider, a B.
Yeah. Fable is the most interesting thing in it. It's a shame that most
they
of
just
it wasn't in the presentation. But
it's very weird. Any other grades before we move on?
I understand why you wouldn't want to show all the stuff from Fable in the same presentation where you spend like 30 minutes on Gears of War, because honestly what Fable's doing is way more interesting. Yeah. You got to sell Gears of War first, so I guess it makes sense, but still. Johan
C. 1998 says, I miss game trailers. Go to SIFTD.net, brother. It's the same stuff, dude. Same vibe, same community, lots of people from game trailers. It's kind of the same concept. You kind of go there to get all your stuff, and you don't have to go anywhere else. Come on over. We're waiting. Devin Danger says, I don't grade showcases. Okay, he's drawing a line in the sand. He's not going to do it.
What if they called it a presentation?
Silkshake says they might be good games, just trailers do nothing for me. I can understand that perspective because it's like Matt said, you really don't know. You know, you can get away with a lot of subterfuge in a video game trailer.
You know, that Devil's Due thing tells me your concept. It tells me nothing else.
Yeah.
Tells me your concept and that you have really good art direction.
Yeah.
And that's about all I get from that.
Noxatornitis, I came away more hyped than in past years. Finally getting to that point in the gen where things are coming together. Yeah, too bad it's 6 years into the gen.
Well, the good news is we're probably still only about halfway through. So.
Right, that's true. It probably is going to be a 12-year gen, you're right. Okay, well, we're just about ready to start talking about Geoff Keighley's Summer Game Fest presentation. But before we do that, here's a word from our sponsor, the Repair app. Cracked phone screen, stuck zipper, busted bike, borked HDMI port, persnickety PlayStation? Don't toss it, boss it with the Repair app. The mission is to build a world where repair is the norm, not the exception. Snap a pic, describe the issue, and find local pros ready to fix it fast. It's not a marketplace, it's a movement that saves your stuff, your sanity, and the planet. No fees, no credit cards, no data collection, no stress. Just fast and fabulous fixes. Track your items and the repairs, log warranties, build a repair history, and become the hero your stuff deserves. Fight landfill guilt, save some cash, and support local business all at the same time. And best of all, it's free. Join the Repair app waiting list today at therepair.app and be among the first to get access. Fix it, keep it, repeat, because trash is so last century. That's right, people. And the big thing is that the Repair app is now an app. Before, when we were promoting the Repair app, it was actually just a website. Now, there are actually apps on iOS and Android, so head on over there and download those right now. In fact, if you could do that, even if you don't intend on using the Repair app right away, that would be great because it helps them move up in the rankings on the app stores. It makes it more likely that other people will then download the Repair app. And the Repair app is just freaking awesome. Again, it's a sponsor that we love working with because their ideals align with ours, which is don't throw your stuff away and put it in a landfill. You can fix a lot of stuff, you can repair a lot of stuff instead of contributing to our trash problem that honestly is an issue all around the globe, not just in America or other territories. It's a problem everywhere. So go to the App Store, go to the Google Play Store, download the Repair app, take a picture of whatever you got that's broken, and it will be sent out to 5,000 repair locations. That's been a big focus of theirs since they finished the website and were working on the apps, was to get a lot of repair places into the app, and they now have 5,000 repair locations in the Repair app ready to help you. There is a focus on electronics and a couple other topics. So as time goes on, obviously they're going to expand into new places, but download the Repair app. Help make a difference across the world, not just where you're living. It really is a global problem of us just throwing things away. Even like a pair of jeans with a bad button on them that still fit, get them fixed. Don't throw them away. Download the Repair app. All right. It's time to move on. We're going to talk about Geoff Keighley's Summer Game Fest event, which is his own sort of take on the E3 press conference. We do not have time to screw around here. We need to get into these games because there are so many. I mean, one thing I will say is I thought Geoff did a good job. Like, there's a lot of big stuff in this. A lot of filler, too, but when you have
filler, but it felt like less filler.
I agree. 2-hour show, though, that is so much to fill.
Still too much.
It is too much. Like, max 90 minutes. Like, honestly, an hour.
You don't realize how much the stupid award tangents like move the show along.
Yep, it really does.
Awards.
Yep. And so
even if they don't give them the attention and importance they should have, if
Yeah.
that really is the reason you're doing that show, which is not, we all know that.
Yeah.
Summer Games Fest is basically the Game Awards with the excuse removed, and it feels a little more numbing because of it.
Yeah. So what I was saying earlier was that I think I figured out a way to solve the issue of not knowing whether something is like content or an advertisement, and that is just taking out the audience audio. Because I think where the confusion comes from is they leave the audience audio up during the ad breaks. And the audience is confused too. You can hear it. They're like, are we supposed to clap for this? There'll be like a smattering of claps and then they'll stop.
My usual rule of thumb is it anime nonsense? Then yes, it's the sponsor.
Is it from China or Korea?
Right.
It's a sponsor.
Does it look like Genshin Impact if you ordered it from like a
or
bootleg
Zenless
website?
Zone Zero?
There you go.
Yeah, you know, you're right. Yeah. So anyway, there's still an issue with figuring out whether stuff is paid for and it's an ad or it's actually content in the show. there's some things that they can do to fix that. But let's get into the games. First up, definitely the biggest game that they showed, although there could be some debate, is the remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica. Or they're just calling it Resident Evil Veronica. It looks like there's gigantic changes being made to this, and I think that's the right call.
Which there would have to be, yeah.
I think it is the right call. When this started, I thought it was Resident Evil, but then as it started going on and she has this whole thing with this old woman, I was like, well, this isn't Resident Evil. This is something else. And as it turns out, it is Resident Evil. At the end, they kind of show a montage that actually tips off that it's Resident Evil Code Veronica, because this was not in the original.
No. The original Code Veronica is basically like Jill on an island.
Yeah. And so this one starts on the mainland, and then as you'll see later on in the trailer when they show a montage, it shows you flying in a helicopter to the island, which is where the original game takes place 100%. And then once you get there, you realize there's these crazy twins, or are there, and all this stuff. But
yeah, a lot of that will have to be tweaked to not be horrendously offensive
I know.
in 2027, but like...
Yeah, because there's also some, like, incest undertones.
Some incest stuff, there's some... trans cross-dressing panic
Yeah.
things. It's a lot of weird shit in Code
It's
Veronica.
going to be interesting to see how they handle all that, but it looks like they're going to flip it on its side.
Code Veronica was the one that was, because I remember when they finally put that on Xbox Live Arcade as like a remaster or whatever, and a bunch of us were very excited to play it for the first time since the Dreamcast era.
Yeah.
And everyone gave up after one night.
Yeah.
Because it was just the camera was bad. Like we just couldn't go back to the pre-Resident Evil 4 style.
Yeah.
It didn't even play as well as the GameCube remake, which I still hate, but it was better than that. So this is one of the games in the series that desperately needs this treatment more than anything.
Yeah.
Like at least you can probably go back and play Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Vanilla,
and get through
like
it.
fine.
Yeah.
This one,
No.
it's
really hard.
It was very hard. It was their first 3D
Yeah.
thing. They hadn't quite. They were trying to do the Silent Hill thing. They weren't quite there yet.
Master the knife is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, absolutely. The knife was definitely king in this game.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, this is way more.
They have to do a lot of work.
A ton of it. I mean, but again, they've done a ton of work on the other ones too. So I'm sure they'll get it right.
So this section in Paris with Claire is
They have
all
not
brand
let
new.
us down yet.
Yeah, this is all brand new with Claire in Paris. And then the actual game picks up 3 months after the events of Resident Evil 2 and will expand on Claire's story beyond sort of what the original Code Veronica did. And that's pretty much it. They just said it would include new elements. It's the same development team as Resident Evil 2 and RE4 remakes. Oh, the other thing, too, is the game is played entirely in third person. Even though this trailer shows first person, it's all third person, which I thought was a little weird.
I think they're doing that just to get what you got, which was like, what is this? They want to keep you guessing.
Yeah. So, but that's all the information Capcom shared. They even did like a little thing where the press showed up and they refused to say anything. And the press was like, why the F did you invite us here?
What
like,
are we here for then?
Seriously.
What are we, Leon?
Yeah. So this is 2027. It's also coming to Switch 2 day one, which I think we can assume with all Capcom's games going forward at this point, that they're actually going to support Switch 2 day one, which is great.
Also, it's very interesting to me the way they're framing the logo, REV, which sure looks a lot like Resident Evil 5.
It does.
But there is a Resident Evil 5.
Right.
Well, what is that going to be?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But that's just called Resident Evil Veronica. And again, it's coming in 2027, and it's coming to all current platforms. So we should get a lot more on this game very soon. I'm very confident knowing that it's being made by the teams that remade RE2 and RE4 because they're great. Those are excellent remakes. So I'm pretty excited for it, but I also remember what the original Code Veronica was like. And so they need to do a lot of work. It looks like they are, which is good news. Next up, some would argue this is maybe one of the biggest games of the whole Summer Game Fest, Final Fantasy VII Revelation.
But Resident Evil's going to outsell this.
Yeah, another Revelation subtitle. There's literally like 80 games as Revelation is a subtitle. They couldn't find anything more unique for the third entry in the Final Fantasy VII remake.
It was going to be one of the. It was going to be Revelations or Rebirth. They already did Rebirth.
They already did Rebirth.
Reunion.
Yeah. Big news here, simultaneously on all platforms. It is not a PlayStation timed exclusive like the first two games were.
They learned their lesson on that one.
They really did. And I think Square Enix is just going to do that with every game going forward, period. Whether it's Final Fantasy or anything else. They showed a ton of this, by the way. We could actually talk about this for like 30 minutes. They shared so much information about it. They showed a bunch of footage of it. The central theme that Square Enix sent to me is resolve. They said that each character confronts their destinies on the way to the final battle. They showed a full-on demo of the game, which is impressive for... I didn't know if we'd see this. Like, when we previewed Naughty 3 last week, we were like, 50-50, they show it or whatever. They showed a lot of it. They also showed, like, the airships, which is a big part of the end of Final Fantasy VII. And you can basically just skydive down to the ground, which is really cool. It's all, like, real-time, like, Fortnite stuff where you just jump out of the plane.
It was what I thought it was, where, like, Rebirth sort of, they figured out the open-world idea, and then that let them put the airship in for the third one and sort of give you a full free-roaming option.
Yep. The hybrid battle system returns that you're familiar with from Remake and Rebirth. Vincent Valentine, obviously, is a big part of the game. He can transform into, like, a monster.
Yeah, he always could do that.
Yeah. And this is coming spring 2027.
Not a fan of the voice. But...
Yeah. This is coming spring 2027. Yeah. It's crazy how fast they got this third one done. I mean, definitely they were working in concert with Rebirth.
This feels like much less of a drastic reinvention than Rebirth was.
It does. It feels like it stays a little closer to the source material than the first two games, maybe.
Well, we'll see. Clearly, they're, the last two games sort of stuck pretty close until, like, the final, like, half hour, and then all of a sudden it was like some
haywire.
Curveball where you're like, wait, what is this? So who knows? Yeah. I mean, my hope is that they're going to actually give it an ending, like a closure ending that does not leave room for like Advent Children or all the follow-up stuff they did that kind of closes the book on Final Fantasy VII forever. Mm-hmm. Like this sort of, this is it.
That's it.
This is the story.
I mean, this should be it.
It should be.
What else could you do?
Nothing. You could milk it for more. You could milk it for more money for the next 20 years. But what you're going to do with that is you're going to take all three of these games and rework them into one cohesive package and sell them to everybody again 5 years from now.
Right. Yeah.
That's what you're going to do.
Generally,
on the next generation.
Yeah.
On PlayStation 6, you will be able, I guarantee you, PlayStation 6, you'll be able to buy a bundle version of this, which is all three in a continuous game where the first one is brought up to the standards of the second and third, and they're all going to feel cohesive, and they'll rewrite stuff so it all makes more sense, and the combat will all be the same sort of throughout, and you won't, but people are complaining about how like you didn't import your save and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that'll all be one thing. It'll all be one game. I guarantee you that will be something they do over the half decade after this is made.
Yeah. Game looks great. Yeah. I mean, I really liked Rebirth. I did not like Remake. But I like Rebirth a lot more than Remake, and this looks like it's going to go and continue going in the same direction that Rebirth went.
It looks much more like Rebirth. I did not like Remake enough that I didn't play Rebirth, but I will probably get to it before this comes out.
Rebirth is pretty good. I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a huge step up from first Remake.
It looks like it. It's just, I am so over the Final Fantasy VII thing.
I mean, they've milked it for like 30 years.
I mean, I never really liked this game in the
I didn't
first
either.
place,
I didn't either. Yeah.
I think it's kind of okay.
I thought it was overrated back in the day.
Yeah.
But this looks good. I like Rebirth, so I'm excited for this. And definitely, this was one of the biggest things.
I do think the portrayal of the characters in Remake were... I understand, certainly from the beginning, the demo of Rebirth, I understand who Sephiroth is better in this than I did in the original game.
Me too.
Because I thought it was just sort of stilted.
They developed him way better in this.
It's a shame they didn't get the voice actor back for the third one, but I'm sure...
He said he was busy.
Yeah, I don't know what. What are you doing?
Okay, man.
That you're busy. Okay, whatever. But Travis Willingham is also a really good actor.
But it's like every big voice actor, they have a studio at home. Like, they don't have to go anywhere to record their lines. He could just do it on the weekend anyway.
Look, as long as someone who voiced Superman is voicing Sephiroth, we're good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the new voice is fine. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Matt Mercer as Vincent.
Oh, really?
Because it's just Matt Mercer doing his gravel voice.
Yeah, right.
It's not how I pictured Vincent sound. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I think Vincent should sound like, but it wasn't that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad Matt Mercer came out to do the big demo thing because he's a very good presenter for that.
Yep. Spring 2027. I still can't believe it. That's when that game's coming out, and it's coming to every platform on day one. Next up, the game with the most controversy from Naughty 3 2026. Stellar Blade Blood Rain, the sequel to Stellar Blade, not Stellar Blade 2 because it features an all-new protagonist, and that is where...
It seems to be a prequel to some degree.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way, and that is where the issues have come up.
Or at least it's a sidequel where it's part of the same conflict that leads to the drop attack in the first game.
Yeah, they did say that like there will be subtle sort of interweaving between the two games here and there. Yeah. But what's causing all the controversy is
that you're playing a child.
Yeah, it's the new protagonist.
Real huge, just two huge errors here. in a game where clearly they're going to present the protagonist as a sex object, the main character looks about 14.
I mean, 14 might be pushing it, man.
And then she doesn't have a blade.
Yeah, well, she's more melee focused.
He's punchy. That doesn't look interesting.
So they interviewed Shift Up, which is the developer of this, after this debuted, and people were freaking out about it. And the one thing that he did say is like, yeah, the trailer focuses on melee, and she's better at melee, but eventually it ends up becoming Stellar Blade. You end up getting everything you got in Stellar Blade. He's like, we just focus on this for the trailer. Then people brought up the whole idea of her being too young to be sexualized, and he either didn't get it at all or totally got it and was like, I'm not talking about that. Because he was like, yeah, she's younger and she's smaller and people are going to love her. Like, that was literally his response.
I'm not sure where that lands. I imagine they know exactly what they're doing.
They definitely know what they're doing. And I'll be honest with you, like,
she's still wearing a skin tight bodysuit under the little,
well, she looks like she's from Piano 3. Remember that GameCube 5 game from Capcom from back in the day? Except the woman in that game was like 27 or 30 years old.
With like like Eve in the first one of these, she looks about 30. You know, like this, maybe a little younger, I guess, in the face, but like they're clearly grown people. Yeah. And this does not. I thought this was the sidekick from the first game originally, and that she was like reconning, and then Eve would jump in and do whatever. But no, you're playing.
This is her.
You're playing as this child,
and there's a whole different setting as well. It takes place in much more wide open areas instead of the kind of this confined thing. And it's been kind of disturbing, honestly, kind of being around the internet and watching people defend this game. People like saying like, I don't understand why people say it's sexualizing her, and it's like, what are you talking about?
The back of the character.
I mean, she's wearing a bodysuit that shows off every curve of her body. The body physics in this are crazy, like really impressive. But she's like 13 right there.
Now, what is that shot then? If you don't think
it's sexualizing her, that's not even the worst of it in this trailer though. It gets way worse than that. Yeah. Like there's a scene where basically she's just like spread eagle, and you see her crotch, and it like pauses on it. Like they're definitely sexualizing this character in this game. I don't know how people can't see that.
They do see it. They just like it, so they're pretending they don't see it.
I was pretty disturbed by a lot of the commentary around this.
I played the first game. I finished the first game. I thought it was pretty good, in spite of all the weird waifu nonsense.
It's like,
but I don't want to play this.
It's like if you don't want to sexualize her, put her in baggy clothes. Yeah, it's problem
solved.
Like,
oh, you can just have her wear the poncho the whole time. Like, that's not really the point.
Though. Oh, the other thing too about the interview was,
and I do like the world. I like
me too.
A lot of the universe.
It looks great.
The universe even in the first game, the universe they created was very interesting to me.
The game looks great.
They didn't really explore it very effectively, but I was curious to learn more about it in a sequel, and now I kind of don't want to play this.
It definitely is disturbing to me. I don't know how people can't see why people are bothered by this. And the other thing too, Matt, was the developer, when they interviewed him about this and he kind of sloughed it off, he then followed it up with, and like, if you liked the crazy outfits in the first game, just wait until you see the outfits in this. Basically sending out a dog whistle, being like, oh...
JJ Forcebreaker, why tie that one character the entire game? Because she's the main character. She's what I have to look at the whole time I play it. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? That's the type of stuff I'm talking about.
To which,
I mean, the way people are twisting themselves into knots to make this game okay it's disturbing.
Yeah, this is an error. Yeah, this whole thing is an error. Yeah.
Yep, and the developers don't see it, and they don't see it because there's millions of people online telling them that everyone else is crazy.
That this is what they want.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I agree. The game technically looks awesome. The gameplay looks awesome.
I wish she had a weapon. Like, I don't...
Again, he says later on she does. She gets swords and everything, like just like Eve or whatever her name was. Yeah. He said that they just focused on melee for this trailer.
She's like Evie or something.
It's very similar name. Yeah.
I mean, they're all robots, right?
Yeah, or androids or whatever they are. Yeah. So this game has drummed up a lot of controversy across the internet for the last week, but ultimately it looks like it could be a good game, and they could fix this very easily. They could age her up in 24 hours and make her look like an adult, no problem. So we'll see if they do. Maybe they will. But it doesn't seem like they're getting it. Doesn't seem like they're getting what people are freaking out about. Yeah. So anyway, that is Stellar Blade Blood Rain. And it is only announced right now for PC and PlayStation 5, though the first Stellar Blade eventually ended up getting released for everything. In fact, they just announced a Switch 2 version of the first Stellar Blade at E3. So eventually, my guess is this will also end up being available for all platforms. Next up,
you don't see a problem? These guys are old? Yeah, we're too old to be looking at a 13-year-old Android like that. How about that? And so are you, I'm pretty sure.
My guess is everybody on this chat right now is old. None of you guys are in your 20s. None of you guys are in your teens.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's move on. Next, we're going to talk about Alien Isolation 2. And this trailer really didn't show hardly anything. But later on, they ended up previewing the game and gave up a good bit of information around this. And again, like I said, I have done a ton of research for this episode to make sure you guys are getting something out of every game we talk about. So this is set at like the Karasake station. Are you familiar with that?
No.
And basically the whole objective is you're trying to escape, just like the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a stealth horror game, so you aren't using weapons and things like that. You're mostly just trying to stay alive. Just like in the first game, you cannot kill the alien. It is impossible to kill the alien. You can distract it with things or harm it with things to distract it, but you can't kill it. It is a threat that's going to be there for the entire game. There's a brand new female protagonist, so there really isn't much connective tissue between the first game and this one, which I was kind of surprised about.
Just the alien, really.
Yeah.
There's not really anything left to do with Ellen Ripley's daughter.
Pretty much.
I mean, that story's told.
Yep. But they said the big shift for the game is that the setting has changed from a confined space station to the expansive storm-ravaged colony world. Kurosake, again, is what they're calling it. Like I said, the xenomorph is unkillable.
Shades of aliens to some degree.
Yep. But the game is all about stealth, survival, and resource management, again, just like the first game. But one big change is that now there are weather elements in the game that affect how the game actually plays. Like they said, if the storm really kicks up, you won't be able to hear certain things.
I have to open the door in this room so the alarm guys can check this
That's
out.
totally okay. But yeah, they basically said that the world is much more open and not as confined as the first game was. And I'll be honest, like I know it maybe was part of the design, was the claustrophobia of that game, but it was, and it kind of wore on me over time. I think I'll prefer this setting a little bit more. They also said you get the classic survival tools like flamethrowers and flares that you use to distract with, alongside different sounds that you can basically fire off. And then also has the classic emergency telephone save points like the first game. And that's pretty much all the info that they gave us on this. Matt, how are you feeling about this game? Are you excited about it?
Somewhat. I mean, I liked the first one, but I didn't finish it because it was
way
too long.
I got frustrated with it after a while.
And I think it bogged down in the section where you were sneaking around with androids too much.
Agreed.
It was more interesting when the xenomorph was after you.
Me too. I feel exactly the same
But I
way.
never thought this would actually finally happen.
Yeah.
That was what? How many years? Was that almost
like
15 years ago or something?
Yeah, actually it's been longer than that. Yeah. They did bring back the original lead developers for this, though.
That's
so they
impressive.
have like the original crew working on it, which is a good sign at Creative Assembly. So, yeah.
I mean, I hope they have the aliens like AI is as smart as what they did in the first one.
It has
to
to
be. Pretty revelatory, where it had the two AIs, like one was looking for you and the other always knew where you were, but didn't tell the other one where you were. So it made the other like kind of bot intelligence do stuff that made it seem like it might know where you were, but it didn't. And then sometimes it didn't find you, and it was very well done. It really felt like you were being like something was looking for you.
Yeah, you're stalked. It definitely felt like you're being stalked. So anyway, we don't have really a release date for that, but it is coming to PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch 2. And we'll hear about the release date pretty soon, would be my guess. Next up, I'm sure this one caught your eye, Matt, and you were excited about this. Gen Atlas. The next game from the mind behind Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian.
Oh yeah. Well, we knew about this.
We had one trailer for it before when it was called Project
We didn't
Robot.
know anything about it, but we knew it existed.
Yep. Well, we knew there was also big robots in it, but the first trailer was very cryptic.
They had the head was his primary.
And it looks like the head is your vehicle in this game. Like it's what you use to get around, because this is a big open world.
Somewhere Double Fine's like, we did that first.
Yep, this has been shared that this is an open world action adventure. There are Colossi elements to it. I think a part of it is you're rebuilding the robots that have fallen, and then you use the robots that you rebuild to bust through the barriers to open up new areas of the open world. That's what it seems like. That is not what they said. They haven't said hardly anything about this game. It's underdeveloped by Fumito Ueda. And again, I just talked about all his prior games that he's made, all classics pretty much. He said that they're shooting in it in this trailer you see shooting, but he said he does not call it a shooter. He said he just calls it an action-focused game, but he did say this is the first ever game that he's made where you could shoot a gun. First one. Imagine being that old and that accomplished and never making a video game where you shot a gun. That is impressive. He also said that it draws subtle inspiration from things like Wall-E.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep. And he said the setting features the remnants of forgotten constructs that awaken across the span of an endless expanse of time. Players will pilot interact with a massive robot head. And that is pretty much all that they've said about this. So
kudos for not calling it Gen Atlas Revelations.
Yeah, seriously, or Judgment or something else. This game looks cool, though. Yeah, I'm still on board.
For sure. I'll play anything that guy makes.
Definitely. But we have no more information, no release date, no nothing.
It's just nice to know it still exists.
Yep, and it's coming. And it's also being published by Epic Games. So they got the financial backing behind them to finish it off.
Well,
all good.
No, Tim Sweeney says they're running out of money, and we got to raise those prices.
Yeah, this game looks really cool, just like everything he makes.
This is why you're paying more for your bucks now.
Seriously. So chances are good that this game will be finished. Epic is publishing it, and regardless of what he says, Epic does have tons of money, and this game looks cool. So I'm pretty confident this game is going to be finished. And again, it's now called Gen Atlas. It was called Project Robot before, so don't forget that. Next up, something that made both of us happy, Matt, Virtua Fighter Crossroads, Virtua Fighter 6, whatever. Wow. This is probably the biggest surprise of not E3, because I never would have guessed that this game would go so far into story-driven content. This is easily on par with what they do with Mortal Kombat. There are 4 different characters that you can play through the campaign with. And it is a full-on campaign where it even switches between fighting styles, where it's in some moments it's like a beat 'em up where you have free reign to kind of attack multiple enemies and fight multiple people at once. And then sometimes it's straight up Virtua Fighter, where you are in a ring with one other person and you're going at it. The setup for this is you're on an island and the president wants to use your fighting league to increase revenue for the government. That's all right. That's the plot for it.
Makes as much sense as anything at this point.
So you get mixed up in this whole underground black market fighting league thing, and it's crazy. They showed so much of this too. I couldn't believe it. For Virtua Fighter to do, I could not believe it, Matt. Because they got
to do something.
It has had stories in the past that were just a joke, basically,
hasn't.
But really it hasn't.
There has never really been story to Virtua Fighter.
There's never been cutscenes like this.
No. There's vague lore that you got from art books and stuff that Doral was Kage's mother or something like that. But no one really. There's vague character relationships, but there's never narrative to it.
This franchise is now made by the team that makes the Yakuza games.
Originally that was what Shenmue was. Was going to be the story of Virtua Fighter. It was going to be this, essentially.
It really was. And this is made by the Yakuza team now. So this is their second one. They made Virtua Fighter 4 or 5, the most recent version of that. They worked on that first, and then we're working on this simultaneously. So. Wow, I can't believe this is Virtua Fighter. It's amazing what Sega's doing. Sega really is reviving a lot of its dead IP significantly and doing a significant job of it. So I was really impressed with this and really shocked by this. But yeah, Virtua Fighter joins Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat in the pantheon, and Injustice in the pantheon of story-driven fighting games. I never really thought that was ever going to happen. Also, the fighting in it looks really good and faster and quicker and more varied and.
They've done
looks
a lot
great.
Of stuff with it. I'm very impressed by the interaction with the limbs.
Yeah,
where when you block something, the characters are actually interacting with each other's hands and arms properly.
I have always appreciated that tact of the Virtua Fighter franchise. It's focused on that more than other fighting games in the past, and it's good to see that they've recognized that and they're doubling down on it. So That's Virtua Fighter Crossroads. It is coming in 2027, but we do not have a hard release date. I would not be surprised if this game is delayed because it's so ambitious, but that studio pretty much hits its dates all the time.
Usually does. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just, this is like kind of their one shot to get Virtua Fighter in the upper echelon.
Yeah.
Break it out of the kind of niche it's been in forever.
Yeah.
Because clearly there's room for it.
Yeah.
Like Tekken proves that, and Mortal Kombat, you can definitely do something with it. We'll see if it hits.
Yeah.
I hope it does, because this has always been my favorite.
Me too. Next up, 1666 Amsterdam, the next game from Patrice Désilets, the creator of Assassin's Creed. This game has been caught up in legal nonsense for the last 10 years. He started working on it at THQ, and THQ tried to maintain control over it even after it had basically gone out of business, and he no longer worked there. Mm-hmm. So he has been fighting with THQ to get the rights back to this game for a while. And he finally did. And Matt, it's like Assassin's Creed Hexy.
I think now we know why they're changing Hexy.
He may beat Assassin's Creed to the punch on the witchy influence Assassin's Creed. Now, I don't think this is an action RPG. I think this is just an action adventure, kind of like the first few Assassin's Creeds were. Mm-hmm. So it's more in the vein of the early Assassin's Creeds than the late ones.
But I think that's what Hexa originally said it was going to be, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the way that, Mirage was.
Yeah. This is set, obviously, in 17th century because it's called 1666 Amsterdam. It weaves a multi-generational mystery across 3 different time periods. There's 1665, 1999, and present day. You play as Noah, a member of a clandestine Zenaris tribe. She can identify ancient demonic entities that are hiding in normal human beings. She can see their faces through their faces. And it's her job to strip their power.
So they're revealed to
basically,
her?
Yes. Exactly. Yep. And so she strips them of their power using occult ceremonies, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so you also play as a cat in this game. It's like a companion from 1999 is transported through time and takes the place of a cat named Aaron, which is very weird.
All right.
And players can then switch between controlling Noah or Aaron at any time. And then so Noah can do the spell crafting and the witchcraft. And then Aaron is like a spy, basically, like a surveillance character.
Familiar.
Yeah, yeah. So this game sounds freaking awesome.
And it sounds like I do think this is why Hexa is being reworked to be more grounded.
They may have caught wind that this was happening.
And who knows if there's legal issues.
Right.
I mean, he used to work for them.
I mean, there may be some code in this from who knows.
Certainly there seems, I'm sure there were ideas that floated around.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
But right now, this game is only announced for PC. It's eventually going to come to consoles, obviously. Mm-hmm. And there's a prologue. I struggle to call it a demo. It's basically just like a thing that you watch for 20 or 30 minutes that kind of sets up the game. But that's free on Steam right now if you want to go check it out. But right now, this game is only announced for PC. And they're saying that it may come this year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know.
I don't know either. They've been working on it a long time, so maybe it's possible.
This is one of the original Assassin's Creed guys, so we'll see what he comes up with.
Yep. So anyway, that is called 1666 Amsterdam. Next up, a game called Crossfire. This is from a brand new studio called That's No Moon, and it's comprised of developers from Naughty Dog and Infinity Ward.
And PR and stuff being headed up by Tina Kowaleski.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's involved in that.
Interesting. I'll have to reach out to her about this. She's doing PR, huh?
I don't know if it's PR, but she's consulting on. She's in pictures with them all the time.
Oh, okay.
She's involved with them some. I might be misstating that.
Okay.
But she is definitely involved with them. She's was part of the founding of it.
Yeah. Well, this is a narrative-driven game, just like you would expect from these developers, with cutting-edge cover gameplay. So it is kind of a mix of the two studios. You have Naughty Dog with the narrative-driven stuff where these are two people who are on rival factions who are forced to fight together when they come under attack by a supernatural threat. And so there's that conflict between the two of them. They're uneasy allies, basically. They're not supposed to be allies, but they need to be to survive, basically. So that's the Naughty Dog stuff. And then the Infinity Ward stuff comes from the shooting. They're very proud of the cover system in this. They say it's unlike anything that you've experienced before. They don't show much of it in this trailer yet. They mostly show a lot of cooperative buddy type stuff. But this is also single player, by the way. This is not a multiplayer cooperative game. It's just single player only. So again, this is called Crossfire. The weird thing is there's 3 games already called Crossfire. So I don't know if this eventually gets
you
a
gotta
subtitle.
win it in the Crossfire.
Yeah, seriously.
You might want to think about it.
Maybe there's a subtitle coming
Maybe
for this.
Crossfire Revelations or something.
Judgment. One of the other.
Origins.
Yeah, that's another one.
Genesis.
Yeah. But anyway, we don't have a release date for this yet, but it is a multi-platform game. But yeah, really looking cool, and honestly, something a little bit different. Maybe this is kind of the angle that Call of Duty needs to start thinking about taking in the future here. Trying to do some things differently. Next
It's also good to have more people doing kind of what Naughty Dog does.
Yeah.
So you don't have to wait 8 years between games.
Yep. And then the last game we're going to really talk about here in the show is a game called Hex, I think. It's an open-world action-adventure made by former developers of The Division and Little Nightmares. What a combo that is.
There's a team up.
But it is an atmospheric co-op survival first-person shooter. It's coming in 2027. It's only announced for PC as well right now. Basically, you're dropped into a paranormal Nordic wilderness to investigate an anomaly. And you're basically looking for a team, or your team, that went first and disappeared. So you're there to kind of recon and find them. The crazy thing about the game, what makes it different, is that the environmental elements in the game are just as deadly as the creatures that you fight. But it says also a survival game. So you have to monitor like your body temperature, hunger, thirst, and your loadout and stuff like that, which makes it not appeal to me so much. I'm not a big survival guy who likes to monitor that stuff.
Kind of reminds me of Annihilation.
Yeah. And then players can also find and craft what are called alien seeds. And that allows you, and you're seeing it right here, it allows you to reshape the environment. They're those little cubes that you see in the trailer there. And you can use those to raise and lower parts of the environment, just like you're seeing right here in the B-roll. So another interesting, unique take on what is typically a common genre. Like, I'm not a big survival shooter person, but this looks way more interesting than a lot of them. So maybe I'll give it a spin eventually. But again, this is called Hex. It's only announced for PC right now, and it's coming in 2027. So keep an eye on that one if you're a PC gamer. And then that's it for the big games that we're going to talk about. I have a few more here I'm just going to mention very quickly. Saw Genesis is a game based on the Saw movie franchise that's being produced by Bloober Team. Also, Bloober Team is working on a Star Trek game. Did you see that?
Yeah, the horror thing.
Yeah, that's cool. And then Stranger Than Heaven, we've talked about that a bunch. Tupac was debuted in Stranger Than Heaven.
Yeah.
And they already debuted Snoop Dogg.
As he predicted in his second album.
So they haven't shown much of Tupac. They have shown Snoop Dogg. It's awful. He uses street vernacular from today, and he's in 1919 or something. Like, they have no idea what they're doing, incorporating Snoop Dogg and Tupac. Like, they're just like, we're from Japan, we know people love Snoop Dogg and Tupac, and we want them in our game. And that's pretty much what's happening.
Maybe they're time travelers.
Maybe. I mean, it is a time travel thing, but the game never goes to present day. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's some kind of crazy twist about it.
Maybe Snoop Dogg and Tupac are going back to the future.
But he's like
to save the past.
Snoop's like a slave trader almost. Like, he runs like a ship, and like he talks like he always does, but it's like 1929. It's so weird. Anyway, Tupac's coming.
And
to
he can talk, no, because like I've heard him do his white person impression, and it's eerie
it
as hell.
Weird.
He's very good.
Yep. Wolf Among Us 2 is not dead. That's coming in 2027. They're also remastering the first Wolf Among Us for all platforms.
Yeah, that's needed.
Yep. Attack on Titan 3 was announced by Koei Tecmo. They say that finally it'll be the first game that lets you play through the whole story. The first two games apparently cut off at a certain point.
Well, because it wasn't done yet.
Right. The actual anime and manga had not gone that far. Now this game goes through all of it. Guild Wars 3 was one of the most watched trailers on SIFTD this week. Crazy. People, for whatever reason, really resonated with that. And then the final game we're going to talk about is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, which is originally... Not canceled. It was originally developed by somebody else, and now the big announcement here is that it's being handled by Platinum Games, which at this point, does that even matter anymore?
Not really, especially since their Ninja Turtles game was not amazing.
Yep.
But it's interesting that the movie version of this was canceled, but the game is still going forward.
Yeah.
It's a very good comic.
Well, it's a single-player game where all the other turtles are dead except for one.
Yes.
Yeah. So it sounds pretty cool and gritty.
And who the one is a big plot point.
Yeah. So, again, it's being made by Platinum, but, like, Platinum isn't the thing that it used to be, man.
No, there's definitely levels of Platinum.
Yeah, and my guess is this might be the lower level of Platinum, because I don't know if they have the higher tier anymore,
I don't know.
I really don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway...
And there's a very interesting story, though, so it's certainly... I'll give it a shot more than I would a normal Platinum thing. But, I am pretty over the Platinum thing.
But there you go. That's Geoff Keighley's Summer Game Fest 2026 presentation. Matt, I'd give that a B or a B minus. I thought it was great. Like I'd
say it's also a B.
He did a good job this year. I thought it was stacked with stuff that was interesting. I thought the way he stacked it, like the games flowed pretty well. Like there wasn't any moments where I'm like, oh my god, when is this thing gonna end? Like as soon as I start to think that, something cool would come on. So
I didn't skip through more stuff than I did in the Microsoft one. Really.
Yeah, so it wasn't like front loaded or back loaded.
Yeah, I watched them like after the fact, so I just jumped. I'm just gonna skip the Minecraft thing. I'm sorry, but I didn't skip as much as I normally do in one of these.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great. I thought the presentation was good too. I thought Geoff was great. The girl from GameSpot was great.
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah,
it was all fine.
Here's your letter grades. You guys know you guys are already ready. Emperor Dread a B. AJ the Legend a B. Cinetyke A minus.
He definitely seems to have learned how to close the show after High Guard.
Yeah. Slagathor no High Guard. Yep. JM Rain B minus. It was fine. Stealthy B sounds fair. Vincent B, which is Geoff's best Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
It was probably,
definitely.
It was up there. I'd agree with that.
Unquestionably the best Summer Game Fest.
I'd agree with that. E-Theme a B. Silk Snake I for I didn't watch it. Over on YouTube, Nabizzle77 2-pack. He also said that I don't believe the trailer for Crossfire is real. Looks like that fake Last of Us trailer. It's possible. Yep. Ashes in the Hourglass says Gen Atlas was a highlight. I could see where some people would definitely say that. Certain audience for sure.
I mean, certainly if you come to me and be like, any game in that presentation, you can have it right now, choose it. It would be that one.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
But it was partly because of the pedigree.
JM Rain says, as Geoff apologized about High Guard. No, I mean, he doesn't feel bad about it.
His apology for that is going to never be ending one of these things with
a free-to-play game.
With something that is not something you've already seen 4 installments of. Basically.
Well, I mean, he said that he doesn't feel wrong, like he did anything wrong, because he went and checked out the game before. Like, he went and watched them play it and check out the game.
He didn't do anything wrong. He just horribly misjudged what anybody would care about.
Yeah.
Which is not wrong. He doesn't need to apologize for that.
He thought people cared more about service games than they did at that point. Yeah.
He made a mistake. He didn't offend. I mean, I don't think anyone should be offended by choosing High Guard to close your show. If he really thought that was a good idea, that's something he needs to rectify by just not making a bad decision like that again. But that's not something he needs to apologize to anybody for.
Yeah. Silksnake says, I go on SIFTD after and see the reveals and click on what I like. And that's what everybody probably should be doing, going to SIFTD.net. Noxator Nidus, he addressed it before the show on Twitter. Okay, I didn't see that at all. I don't go on Twitter anymore. Eric Carmenez, B+. Okay. JM Rain says, well, it seems he should know that. Yeah. I mean, he knows.
Probably. But, I don't know. He likes something about High Guard.
Yeah. I mean, he went and saw... I mean, it looks like a good game. I mean, if you just look at it being played, it is. It is a good game. People just rejected it for whatever reason because he closed his show with it. That game did not deserve what it got.
No, but I mean...
People just piled on it.
I rejected it by watching that trailer and thinking it looked incredibly boring and generic.
Well, you don't like shooters. You definitely don't like service shooters. So that was the worst game they could have ever put on for you.
And I'm completely over the Norse stuff.
Yeah.
Regardless of how much you want to tech it up.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, getting a demo of a game in person is completely different than whatever trailer they cut together for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have shown me that ahead of time and said, hey, where in the show should this go? And I'd be like, bury it in the middle.
Yeah, I definitely would have said
somewhere far, somewhere deep.
Even knowing that I played that game and thinking it was a good game ultimately, it was still dumb to close the show with it. No doubt about it, without a doubt. I agree with that 100%. TP says the horse felt out of place. All right, it's time to move on to our last topic of GameFace 483. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct, the most recent thing that just happened on Monday at 7 a.m. Nintendo. When is Nintendo going to get with the program and realize everybody else did theirs at 2 p.m. Pacific?
No. They're doing it. It's got to be Japan time somehow.
Instead, my ass has to get up on a Monday at like 6 a.m. to watch this thing.
I got up at 11 to see it, and that was fine.
Unfortunately, I still have a daily job I have to do, so I had to be there to make sure I'm.
I mean, even if I'm not gonna watch that at the moment. Any Nintendo Direct, I'm going to make sure I watch it when I can skip stuff. And sure enough,
Nintendo cares way too much about the Japanese market. That's all I gotta say. Like, it's not that important. I get it, they're a Japanese company, but it just cares.
Well, what they need to do is they need to drop this format.
Mm-hmm.
I am so done with the
dude
doing the snap and the whole like constant I mean, I feel like a lot of people said this time. I feel like everybody reached some kind of breaking point with the Nintendo voiceover
that
thing.
Dude that does
that
everything.
One dude it's that whole thing. It's like join a magical world. You play a person. Explore an incredible place. Meet people.
Fight do a thing.
Dastardly monsters. If you press a button, your character will do things.
And the worst part is they put freaking like subtitles at the bottom of their press conference.
But it's like you're watching a memo.
Yeah,
it's like you need to take the bullet points from the marketing department and turn them into something a human being would say. Okay,
I hear you.
Like it's just so relentlessly chirpy and sterile, and it's gotta stop.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing and one of the most
it doesn't even make that sound anymore.
I know it doesn't. The biggest thing and the most disappointing thing, maybe of all of Summer Game Fest, is the debut of the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time remake, and it does feel like Nintendo's hand was forced here.
So I will say this. I saw this on its. This is the first thing I saw from this because it aired, and I saw it on Twitter, and obviously I watched this, and I'm like, that's it. And when I got to this again, rewatching it, I skipped it because there's no reason to watch this again.
There's no reason. There's none.
Completely pointless.
Well, definitely if you already played Ocarina of Time and you know what it's about.
Oh, yeah.
They give you a little synopsis here of the plot or whatever, but...
Yeah, the setup is here. But it's like, what do I want to look at this tapestry again and like one shot of Link sleeping? Like, who cares?
And yet...
They still say this year...
despite all of that being all there is there, it ended up becoming a gigantic controversy. Mm-hmm. Because when they show Link laying there all curled up, like they in the original game, it's just a nasty sprite of him laying there. Right. In this game, the Triforce lights up on his hand. And of course, Nintendo geeks can't deal with that because, no, he doesn't get the Triforce until he's an adult.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this is not
cares?
actually
this
what's
is
happening.
Symbolism, you moron.
It's a trailer.
Ugh.
Also, he's always chosen. Like... It doesn't mean he has the Triforce if like the flash of destiny is on his hand. I saw a lot of people complaining about what a lot of people complaining about what he looks like too.
There's just a lot of stupid people.
Y'all gonna need to deal with the fact that this is gonna look different.
Yeah,
like
it's a remake,
and also the art. You know, everyone's comparing it to the 2D art from Ocarina.
Right.
That art was drawn after the game. Yeah. Like the game, the Ocarina of Time was not a polygonal representation of that 2D art. That 2D art is a 2D representation of the polygonal characters, and they are free to change whatever they want. Yeah. And some of this, given the art style, given the look that Link has in this, I'm fascinated by. What are those Re-Dead gonna look like in that art? Like some of this Shadow Temple's gonna be terrifying.
I mean, some of the monsters in this.
Yeah. What the hell is that gonna look like?
I'm kind of excited.
The thing with the fucking bone tentacles that come out of the ground. Like, what is that gonna look like?
They're all gonna look realistic.
Yeah. Like, I'm kind of excited.
I'm really excited for this game. It's Ocarina of Time, you idiots. The internet sometimes pisses me off so freaking bad. It just makes me realize how many stupid people there are out there.
The secret is to not care what the internet thinks about anything.
That's a good point, actually.
Especially when it comes to the Nintendo shit.
Yeah.
Like, what do you...
Well, this is coming this year, and it should, because this is a big anniversary for Zelda.
It's a 40th anniversary, and they don't have anything else at the end of the year, so my guess, and I was like, well, why aren't they, people are like, oh, it gotta be delayed, because that's why they didn't give a date. I'm like, I think they didn't give a date, because they think they wanted it in November, but they also don't want it the same week as GTA. Yeah. So, I have a feeling that this game's in a game of chicken with GTA 6.
I've never been so excited for something, and then so disappointed.
Didn't get a whole lot out of that one, did
No,
it?
they did
but
not.
On the other hand, you kind of don't need it. And I assume that what they're doing here is they need to sell their Star Fox remake first.
For sure.
They want to hype you up about the next remake before they've sold you the
Although that
remake.
might make people go buy a Switch too, so more people buy Star Fox.
There was a game in this that I know 2 people that want to buy a Switch 2 now for it, but it is not either of those.
Yeah. Interesting.
I bet you're...
Pacopia, I'm guessing.
No, absolutely not.
Star Fox.
Nope.
I don't know.
Orbitals.
Oh, really? How do they even know what that is?
Because they were watching the thing.
Oh, I see.
And they said, I want to Switch 2 now because of that game.
Really?
2 people.
Wow.
Who
I'm
don't
really
know each other.
surprised to hear that.
Don't be. That game's going to blow the fucking
Do
doors
I
off
know who
shit.
they are?
Yes.
Oh. Then they're hardcore gamers, and I get it. Okay. I think you're talking about like casual.
One is.
Wow.
The other is medium.
Interesting.
But they're more anime people.
That makes sense. Okay.
There's a lot of anime people. But buckle your seatbelt on that one. Don't underestimate
Yeah, I think
Orbitals.
the anime people might be the same people who don't think that the girl in Stellar Blade looks young.
No, those are not the same people.
I think there's definitely a pipeline from anime fan to person who thinks the girl in Stellar Blade isn't too young.
But not for Orbitals. Because Orbitals is appealing to people who remember the 80s era of hand-drawn animation from the things like Gundam, Bubblegum Crisis, etc. Those are not the people who think that a 14-year-old is hot.
I'm saying there's a direct pipeline between those people.
And I'm saying Orbitals is not appealing to those
I didn't
people.
say that it was. I wasn't saying that at all. Probably the biggest surprise maybe of the whole thing, even more than Final Fantasy VII Part 3, is this. Kingdom Hearts 4 at the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, I didn't see this one coming.
I think I gave it a 30% chance of being shown in our preview show or something.
Yeah, but
like
I don't think
that.
either of us were thinking it was Nintendo's thing.
No, definitely not. But here's the second trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4, and it makes it look just as dull and uninteresting as the first trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4. Is Square Enix not figured out yet that people don't play this game for their characters, that they play them because there's Disney characters?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these games have gotten more and more focused on the original characters in them. And to be clear, Disney does own the main characters of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they own Sora and those guys. But, like, I don't know, man. I assume it's because they're holding back all the Disney stuff to, like, drip feed everybody for the next 2 years or whatever. I feel like the Kingdom Hearts thing's over.
I feel like that way too, Matt. I don't care about this at all.
Not really.
I'll be honest. By the time I got to the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, I didn't want to play it. I barely finished it because the combat got so repetitive and Yeah, I mean, this didn't do anything for me other than being surprised that they was shown and making me think maybe it's not 10 years away.
Also, like, making Sora like interact with normal people is interesting to some degree.
And nobody noticed he's got this big ass key.
Like, you got the key and a shoes, and so like, can this boy get full size pants yet?
I mean, this is the franchise for the people who are capable of just completely suspending all disbelief.
Also, apparently, there's a reference or something in here that's a reference to a plot point from a canceled game.
I heard that
only got like a beta test in like one region. It's like,
which is actually kind of cool.
You can't fault them for going deep lore.
I like that. Yeah, shit. But the rest of it, I don't care. It also looks dated, like very dated. Mm-hmm. Like, this does not look like a game that's being developed right now. This looks like a game that was developed like 5 years ago, which it was.
It looks like what Kingdom Hearts would look like if you were like demoing it for the beginning of this gen.
Yeah.
But like, look how empty that whole section is. Yeah,
it does.
And it's like, but also that's sort of like required for the combat to work the way it does. But also, like, why are we being subjected to this combat again?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. All I know is that they're gonna make me try to play a Tron Ares level, and I don't want to do that.
All I know is eventually they're gonna show Disney characters, and then I'll care. And until that happens, maybe. I will not.
Honestly, I think the only thing that could make me care is if they go all in and have Marvel and Star Wars in it.
Tanzini says, I don't want to have to play 10 other games to know what's going on in this storyline.
Kingdom Hearts 2 for 1 after tax with coupon. Yes.
Yeah. And Vincent says, I'm very interested to see if this is shown at D23 this year, along with Blade and Amy Hennig's new game, 1943.
I'm going to guess no, but who knows?
It's possible, but yeah, probably not. But I didn't think this was going to be shown either, so I was wrong on that one.
Yeah, but D23 doesn't really care about video games.
Yeah. Next up, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. We finally got the release date for this. I showed a release date trailer. It is coming September 17th. Also, this game is selling for $80. It is the second new Switch 2 game selling for $80 after Mario Kart World. How do you think that's going to sit with people?
I don't know.
Fire Emblem has a dedicated fan base.
Fire Emblem does have a dedicated fan base, but like $80 for a Fire Emblem game is no joke, especially when you're probably going to charge us $40 for the DLC later.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'll still play it, obviously, but like that... Of all of Nintendo's franchises that I thought they'd try to get away with $80 for it, I did not think this was going to be.
Me either. I didn't think this would be the next one, that's for sure. We did get some information, some new information. This trailer basically
$70 digital, apparently.
Yeah.
So that's better.
Yeah, I mean, all their digital's going to be $10 cheaper.
But I'm not going to buy the
either way
physical one, so.
Yep. It does take place in the Dagdan Empire, where basically you must win a bunch of games in the Colosseum to release your imprisoned father. So basically this whole game is you going to this facsimile of the Roman Colosseum, fighting there, and trying to build your fame to free your father from captivity. There are 4 lead characters. One of them is a musician, which I found pretty interesting. Each character has its own campaign. So there are basically 4 separate campaigns in this Fire Emblem game. Between the matches in the Colosseum, you build your team, you recruit new teammates. You can also travel to other territories in between the different bouts in the Colosseum. You can spend your free time however you want, just like the last couple Fire Emblem games where you kind of have this time schedule, kind of like Persona, where you can kind of manage your time. Except this time, instead of being in a school, you're a part of this fight club, basically, around this Colosseum. I didn't really notice any major tweaks to the gameplay, and they didn't talk about them either.
I mean, that thing is more powerful than just about anything
I've ever seen
in the previous Fire Emblems, for sure. But other than that, it looks very Fire Emblem.
Yeah, which is okay. Like, I love Fire Emblem just the way it is. So, again...
Also, the like that one screen where you see that it lists how many days you have left, or turns or something, like where so clearly you're on a time limit.
It's like I said, you're on a calendar like you were in the last game.
It feels a little Persona-y, which is fine.
Yep, that's exactly what I said, but I think you're reading your phone.
Yeah, I just got 95 alerts for alarm breaches.
Because they're working on your alarm.
They're testing all the alarms.
That's hilarious. So anyway, again, this is an $80 game coming September 17th. My guess is over the next 3 months, this game is going to be blown the F out. There will be no stone left unturned by the time this game comes out in September. But there you go. That's the latest on Fire Emblem Fortune's
Will there be amiibos?
Yes, there will be probably. There's also a special edition coming as well. Yep. Next up, Xenoblade Genesis. The Xenoblade Chronicles trilogy is over, and they are resetting the franchise. And coincidentally, they are releasing a package that includes all 3 of the Chronicles games in one package for Switch 2. But this is the brand new one called Xenoblade Genesis. This is also scheduled for 2027. It takes place on Anshar, a world lit by 6 suns. There are multiple nations in the world, but they are in ceaseless conflict. The world is made of something called anima, which can be manipulated by those known as Veselae. The Veselae are trained at an academy known as Lucas. And so this is just like Persona or just like Hogwarts Legacy. This is another game that takes place at a school where you have to manage your time between going to class, hijinks with your classmates, going out and fighting, all that kind of stuff.
I'm going to bet that by the end of this, the different sides of this have created the Mechonis and the Bionis, and it actually leads into the opening cinema of Xenoblade 1.
That's possible. That would be sweet, actually.
It is called Genesis.
It is. And they did say it's a new beginning for the franchise, and it shifts away from its traditional sci-fi elements towards a more whimsical fantasy setting. The lead protagonist is named Eleanor, but I guess you have 3 other characters to play as. I don't know why they would say that there's one lead.
There's always been one lead in all these.
That is true, actually.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
Shulk is the lead of the first one, even though, honestly, he's not very relevant past the first, 10 hours.
Yeah. At the academy, all the students are learning how to use what are called cry stones. And basically, they are used to amplify their powers that are powered by the anima. They also said that there's wolf-like mounts in the game. There's dragon mounts in the game as well. It looks like it's really flipping the script on Xenoblade. Are you happy to see this more kind of fantasy setting than the futuristic sci-fi stuff?
I mean, not really, but it's fine if they want to flip the script and do something different, because they did need to kind of change things up a little bit. The main appeal of the Xenoblade games tends to be the world.
Yeah,
and it does look a giant vertical circle world is an interesting visual, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I think it looks cool.
And I got the upgrade for the first one for Switch 2.
Yeah,
it looks very nice.
It really does. Yeah.
I like all that they're upgrading all those.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
Especially since they seem to be
because the first one just launched on Tuesday.
Yeah, the first one shadow dropped, and the one for 2 I think is in
they're spread out
September,
by a few
October,
months.
and then 3 is in December, and that's also when the 3-pack. Drops, I think.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that this series is still around and getting some respect.
Yep. Very brief.
Better upgrades than the definitive version of X got. At least, because
that's for sure.
Had some issues.
Yeah. And then they did show Star Fox. We're not going to talk about that much because we've been talking about Star Fox for weeks here on the show.
And you can just go play the demo.
Yeah, there's a
And
free
it sure
demo.
is Star Fox.
Yeah, there's a free demo on the eShop right now. Like, you play through a training, and then you can play through, like, a single mission or whatever. So if you want to get a taste of that, you can. The next big game we're going to talk about, though, is Final Fantasy Resonance. That's another subtitle that is used over and over again. This is the first Final Fantasy in Square Enix's HD 2D art style. That you've seen in Octopath Traveler and a couple other franchises that Square Enix
Dragon Warrior
publishes. Yeah. But this is the first Final Fantasy. They're also billing this as the first new turn-based Final Fantasy in decades, but like there are several of them on mobile. So really it's like...
No, because those still use the active turn battle thing.
Do they?
Yeah.
I thought they were just turn-based. No,
they use the ATB.
Oh, I didn't know that, actually. Okay.
This is legitimately the first, other than like maybe like the Final Fantasy Worlds or whatever that thing they you don't see actual turn-based Final Fantasy games very often. Not since, God, maybe since like 3 or something.
Oh, wow.
It's been a long time.
Now
unless you want to count some weird side spin-offs.
Now, the plot for this does spin off one of those mobile games, Brave Exvius. But they said it's a brand new game. They just use that as the basis for the plot in this. It has nothing to do with it otherwise. So, yeah, this is the first new 2D Final Fantasy in a really, really long time. The protagonist is named Rain. His goal is to protect the world's magic crystals from being destroyed by the Veritas of the Dark. How many Final Fantasies are you trying to stop someone from destroying crystals?
I mean, there's always a crystal.
Yeah, always. There's always crystals involved somehow.
There's always a crystal. There's always a chosen people. There's always light. There's always dark. There's always Sid.
Yeah. They said it has a new combat system, a new overworld, a new way to handle the overworld. It's split into like multiple continents that are divided by water. So you get airships, chocobos, summons, all the stuff that you know and love from Final Fantasy.
It's a shame they couldn't resist putting other Final Fantasy characters in it.
Yeah.
It's just that always feels desperate to me.
Yep, I agree. Yep. So it's all the stuff you know from Final Fantasy in that HD 2D art style.
I'm gonna here's my hot take. This is what Final Fantasy should be from now on.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
Stop spending $100 million on these games and just make them this.
Or you could still spend a good bit of money on it like they did with Expedition 33. Like, you could still make a really good turn-based RPG.
But Square doesn't have that kind of... Nomura doesn't have that kind of restraint.
No.
Like, this is where Final Fantasy is.
Yeah.
In terms of actual popularity, in terms of actual, like, potential sales, this is what Final Fantasy is.
I mean, I still think, like, Final Fantasy 7 will outsell this.
But that is not Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. The 2D
If
stuff
you want to release this or another Final Fantasy 16, you should release this.
Yeah. Yep.
And you'll be able to get them out in less than a decade.
Yeah. This is coming this year on October 22nd. Another game in October. It's coming to PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and both Switch consoles. The combat system does have a little bit of a gimmick to it. Like, it's all about staggering your opponents. So you need to stagger them first before you can take them down.
I mean, all these 2D HD games
they all kind of work that way. Yeah. So anyway, game's looking pretty good, and I love that HD 2D art style. I love how they've kind of shown you here how it's translated it from the original, how it looked, into the 2D HD. They did a really good job with this trailer, I thought. So. Yeah. Again, that's Final Fantasy Resonance coming to PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and both Switch consoles. And then the rest of the stuff from the Nintendo Direct, we can kind of go through very quickly. Orbitals, you just mentioned that. We got the release date for that. That is coming on September 3rd.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that was going to make it this year.
And it is making it. It's coming September 3rd. It's going to have 2-player local co-op. So it does not look like it's going to have online play, which obviously was a big sticking point for me with the last game from Hazelight. Just trying to find someone to play with was tough. Even with the online stuff that they had, which was like limited. Here, I don't know if they're even going to have online. But one thing I did learn, Matt, is that this is made by a former Hazelight developer. It literally, somebody left Hazelight and was like, I'm just going to make the same thing in my own studio.
Yeah, that's why it does have online.
Does it?
It has a friend pass.
Oh, I thought it didn't.
I don't think it has matchmaking. I think you can have someone, you can have local or online friend pass.
Oh, okay.
So you could, if someone doesn't own it but you want to play with them and they're online, you can do it that way.
Okay.
But then I'm sure they still have to download it.
Yeah. And then the last couple of things we're going to talk about from the Direct, the Dusk Bloods, which is the Switch 2 exclusive coming from Software. Still don't have a release date for that other than 2026. They did say that a closed network test is coming. So keep your browser pointed at SIFTD. We'll have instructions for you to sign up for that if you're interested in it. But yeah, it's going to be one of those things where you got to sign up and just hope that you get picked, which sucks. And then they showed Splatoon Raiders, which turns out is like this crazy single-player treasure hunting game. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what to make of that game yet, but they're about to do a huge direct for it on the 30th of June. So we're going to learn all about it at that point. You'll know more than you want to know about Splatoon Raiders. And
already do.
Yeah, exactly. And then the final thing I already mentioned, which was the Xenoblade Chronicles Collection, the first 3 games being remade for Switch 2. And as Matt mentioned, the first one came out on Tuesday. And that was the Nintendo Direct. And I would just say that it was the worst of all 4 things that we covered. Basically, it's almost an hour long. So basically as long as Xbox.
The first time I loaded it up, it was 2.5 hours long. Because it had the treehouse thing.
Oh, right.
I was like, what the hell is this?
It was 50 minutes long, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or 6 games to talk about. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of filler. That Nintendo Direct.
You're not all about the Rhythm Heaven?
No, I'm not. They started the press with that.
Started with Rhythm Heaven. Yeah.
I mean, that showed you kind of what they had.
Showed you how to count rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm like, we're still doing this. Okay, here we go.
So we were kind of pissed off about Nintendo in years past waiting until the end of June or whatever to do their thing. Now I think maybe we see why. Yeah. Like I feel like Nintendo felt like its hand was forced to do this. It obviously wasn't ready.
But also, like I feel like it got less heat against it because it was in the middle of this week of all this other stuff, so people felt less disappointed.
Like they weren't. They were distracted maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't all the focus wasn't on the Nintendo Direct, so it felt like it was just part of that tapestry, and I wasn't as disappointed because I had other things to look at in the other things too.
Yeah.
So instead, it was just like, oh, there's some good Nintendo stuff in here.
I'm giving that a C minus.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I mean, I might rank it up a little higher because I didn't get up at 7 in the morning for it.
Yeah.
But that is definitely not something to get up at 7 in the morning. Like, if you're going to put it there, you better make it worth getting up.
Yeah.
And I don't think they did.
Vincent says, you didn't mention Switch Sports Resort because it's just Wii Sports Resort with like a couple extra. And it was one of the most embarrassing things in the whole thing. They had a thumb wrestling.
The thumb wrestling demo was one of the things I did jump through, yes. But in general, that is the game they need to have. Like, I'm surprised it's taken them this long.
Vincent's intimating that it doesn't sell that well. Like the last one for Switch did not sell that well.
No, and
it doesn't sell like Wii Sports.
This will not sell that well either. Also, I know it doesn't make any sense, but they should just call it Wii Sports.
And they should just pack it in. They should pack it in.
Or they should call it like Switch Sports.
Like if they wanted to make a wave with this Direct, here's what they should have done. They should have said, going forward, packed into every Switch 2 console is Switch 2 Sports Resort. Mm-hmm. Done.
Switch Sports Resort.
Whatever. Serious? That would have made that.
Just put two eyes in Switch.
Then you get the grandmas again.
That's one of the things is like, I know it's not on the Wii. I know the Wii is very old. It's 20 years old. But people who made that a giant hit think of that game's name as Wii Sports.
Yeah, I know.
They don't. It doesn't register with them that it's a different system.
Yeah.
It's just.
It's just what it is.
You gotta call it Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Like I swear, I'm. Yeah. Even if you just like spell it, try to make it like we as in like the pronoun we.
Yeah.
And spin it that way for whatever. That's what gets people's attention. If you call it like Switch Sports Resort, everyone's like, I don't know what that is.
Emperor Gastal 84, thank you for that.
And you know, they'd all love the bowling.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing.
And tennis.
We're just all here for the bowling and
that's
the tennis.
That's all I play it for.
Yeah.
That's all I play it for. Yep.
You don't want a skateboard with a mouse? What?
No. Ashes in the Hourglass. Xenoblade was the best game of the week, so beep. Okay. Thumb wrestling segment. Andy T. Monahan brings it up. E-Demon D, my hot take about as bad as the state of play. Worst presentation, better games. AJ, as unimpressive as this presser was, I still had a friend go out and buy a Switch 2 that same day just because of Zelda. I mean, it's Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
AJ gives it a D still. That's hilarious, AJ.
I mean, there's results and there's judgments, I suppose.
Slagathor D, Vincent a B. Wow. Okay. Erebus an F-. Worst presentation I think I've ever seen. Awful. Ashes liked the thumb wrestling demo. Okay. This is for video games. Last one sold 18 million. Well, in an installed base of like 180 million. Yeah. So, same thing.
All right. How much did Wii Sports sell?
Yeah. 150 million or something. Yeah. New Spyro got more buzz than it. Chevelle Man C-. Emperor Dread, I couldn't find myself to any reason to get a Switch 2, even if it's its second year a D. Eric Cartman is C+. Anybody over on YouTube doing the grades? Nope. Suburban Samurai says Nintendo's going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And then Christian Valaga 633 says, I waited all day to watch it. When I got home, I was so disappointed. It was so bad. I was so mad that I pushed GameFace. Because we pushed GameFace for that. Yeah. And as I finished watching it, I was like, that was a colossal mistake. I should have known that it was going to be a mistake. So I was mad about that. I was also mad that I had to get up at 6 a.m. to watch the damn thing. And I had to sit and watch somebody thumb wrestle for like 5 minutes. Whee! So anyway, yeah, maybe a C- was a little generous for me on that Nintendo Direct, but yeah, I was not enthused.
Yeah, I'll give it a C-, but I didn't have to sit through all that. I was jumping through it later on.
Makes it easier when you can scrub on through the stuff you don't care about.
Thumb wrestling. I could not believe that was the thing they picked out of all those things to demo.
Well, they only added like a couple events, so they had to kind of pick something to demo it.
I thought they were going to do skateboarding because it was the mouse controls.
Right.
Because it was that's what they're
because they keep pushing that over and over.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, there you go. That's our analysis of Summer Game Fest / Not E3 2026, whatever you want. Those are our picks for kind of the 50 biggest games you should keep your eyes on going forward.
I was also pleased to see that Dragon's Dogma 2 is not done.
Yes, there's DLC coming. It's coming to Switch 2. I mean,
that's coming to everything.
That's what that Direct was. It was just all. It was a port dump.
Endless
port
day
dump
late.
That nobody cares.
So the Rise of the Tomb Raider thing. I was so confused because it was Rise of the Tomb Raider 20th anniversary, whatever, and I'm like,
wait a minute.
It's been 20 years since Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's been 30 years since Tomb Raider started. So what?
Yeah.
It's the complete edition of Rise of the Tomb Raider that came out in 2016.
Yep. That was
the 20th anniversary of the Tomb Raider franchise, and now it's 10 years old, and they are not changing that name?
Yep.
Yep,
I hear you.
I did, and then I went on the Switch when I bought the Xenoblade upgrade for on the Switch 2. There's a thing that's like games that we recommend to you because of the other stuff I'm like, okay, let's see what this is. It's like like that. I'm not kidding. Every single game was something I own on at least 2 other platforms already.
I mean, that was the Direct. I mean, it was just game after game that everybody's already played and owned.
Every single game. It was something awful. I've already played at least twice.
I know. Yep. All right, we got to move on.
Bold that you're trying to get me to buy Skyrim again.
Yep. Well, we've reached the end of GameFace episode 483, which means that there is just one thing left to do. That's right. It's time for Name That Game Tune, brought to you by Soundwizardry.com, the absolute wizards of audio. If you're working on a game right now and you got a sound team, they're not good enough. You know who is good enough? It's Soundwizardry.com. You're working with a sound guy who sucks, his attitude's awful, you hate working with him, you don't want to get emails from him, you don't want to be on phone calls with him. Contact Soundwizardry.com. They are the coolest people you will ever work with. I swear to you, Glenn and crew are just good freaking people. They can work on games, film, TV, podcasts, you name it. Anything audio related, contact Soundwizardry.com. They're so freaking awesome that they sponsor this game we play called Name That Game Tune, where I play 5 audio samples from a video game, and you try to guess the name of the game before this guy right here. There are no rules anymore. Basically, you can play every week. We have a leaderboard, and I'll probably bring that back next week to show the updates to that. We have a leaderboard. Whoever wins the most times this year wins the big prize at the end of the year. So you can just keep on playing. The only thing is that the chat goes into slow mode. YouTube crew, thank you for showing up today, hanging out. Love you guys. Appreciate you. But if you want to play Name That Game Tune, you got to jump over to twitch.tv/SiftedGames. All right. Let me get everything loaded up here. Let me get the interface up and ready to rock. Let me make sure we're at the bottom of the chat, which we are. Surf Spider, thank you for jumping in there with Twitch Prime at the last minute. That's awesome. Matt, are you ready to play Name That Game Tune?
Sure.
Are you guys ready to play Name That Game Tune? Here is the first sample in 3, 2, 1. Not Body Harvest, Ian Esquire.
Donkey Konga.
No, not Donkey Konga.
Whatever the drum thing was.
Not whatever the drum thing was. Everyone else thought too. Look at this. That's hilarious. No, not DK1, not Donkey Kong Country Returns, not Donkey Kong, not Beyond Good and Evil, not Donkey Kong 64, not
Split Fiction.
No. Not Crazy Taxi.
Some monkey.
Some monkey game. You don't know Jack. Tomba 1, no. Fall Guys, no. Slam City, no. Rayman Origins, no. Tropical Freeze, no. Banjo Tooie, no. Any other guesses on that first one? You guys definitely thought it was something else. Everyone thought it was a Donkey Kong game of some kind, but nope. Any other guesses before we go to the second one? Donkey Kong Bonanza, no. Conker's Bad Fur Day, no. Going once. Going twice. Croc, no. From Chevelle Man.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
No. Final Fantasy X, no. I gotta be careful I don't show you guys my leg here. I'm wearing shorts today. It may blow out the cameras. My leg is so white. The cameras just explode. Ukulele, no. All right, we're gonna call it here. Going once. Going twice. All right, here's the second sample. In 3, 2, 1. Any guesses on that one? Diddy Kong Racing, no. Call of Duty, thank you for Twitch Prime, brother. Appreciate you. Samba de Amigo, no. Mario Sunshine, no. River City Girls, nope. Not Ratchet and Clank, not Time Splitters 2, not Crash Bandicoot, not Crash 3, not Hi-Fi Rush. Lots of Crash Bandicoots from this. Look, it's so crazy. That clue was all Crash, apparently. Crash Team Racing, no.
It did kind of sound like when he smashes a crate.
Yeah. Retro Modern Gamer, Watch Streak, thank you. We'll be here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Well, usually every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/SIFTDGames. Spyro 3, no. Any last guesses on that clue? Snake Pass, no. Lost Vikings, no. Not Scott Pilgrim. Not Shredder's Revenge. Not Spyro. Any last guesses? Going once. Going twice. Sold. All right, here's the third sample. In 3, 2, 1. That was a long one.
Oh. Samba de Amigo?
No. No More Heroes? No. Jet Set Radio? No. Psychonauts? No. Ape Escape? That's not it. Not Rayman Origins. Not Rayman Legends. Now everyone thinks this one's Rayman. And Astrobot. Not Astrobot. Not Manhunt. A Hat in Time, no. Donkey Kong / Crash crossover? Nope. It's funny, Vincent. Super Mario Odyssey? No. Just Cause? No. Klonoa? No. I'm assuming that's what Stealthy's saying. Klonoa? No. Tembo the Badass Elephant? Nice Draylocks, but that's wrong. Grim Fandango? That's not it either. Tembo. You really pulled that one out of nowhere, Draylocks. Wasn't that made by Game Freak? Wasn't that like Game Freak's first game that like wasn't Pokemon or something? Another Super Mario Sunshine? No. No, not Sly Cooper. Looks like we're gonna go to the fourth sample here. Tatsunoko versus Capcom? Nope. Toomba? No. Any last guesses? All right. Ukulele. Someone already guessed that, Congram, and it's not it. It's getting dicey. We're down to our last 2 clues. Will somebody win? All right. Here we go. Here's the fourth clue. In 3, 2, 1. Lots of long clues in this one. Mario plus Rabbids? Nope. Hyperdimension Neptunia? No. Fall Guys? No. Gex? No. Somebody already guessed Banjo-Kazooie Surf Spider? No. Home?
Grow Home?
Grow Home? No. Bubsy 3D? No. Second time we talked about Bubsy on this episode. Psychonauts, Jak and Daxter, Brutal Legend? No. To all 3. Persona 5 Tactica? No. Wow. We may not get this one. Spyro Year of the Dragon? No. Ratchet and Clank? Nope. Knack? No. Rhythm Thief? That's not it. 101 Dalmatians? That's not it. Oddworld? No. Any last guesses? Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? Someone guessed that one already? No. All right, we're about to go to the last one. Going once. Going twice. All right, we're going to clue 5. Here it is in 3, 2, 1. I'll play that one again. Cooking Mama, no. Astrobot, someone guessed that a bunch, no. Persona 5, no. Space Channel 5, no. UFO 50, no. Sunset Overdrive, that's not it.
Dave the Diver.
No. That's not it either. Wow. I think we're going to have a non-winner this time. Candy Crush, no. Some kind of puzzle game, no. It's not. Sonic Frontiers, no. Bioshock, no. Revelations, no. The World Ends With You, no. Luminous, no.
WarioWare Genesis.
No. Jumping Flash, no. Fat Princess, Tomodachi Life, no. Chameleon Twist, Beautiful Joe, no. Kaiser Tasmanian Tiger, no. Guitar Man, no.
Yeah, I don't think I know this.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to get it. All right, I'm going to count down 10 seconds. If we don't get the right answer in 10 seconds, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, that's the cutoff at Balan Wonderworld, and nobody got it. The game is the best-selling game for Xbox 360. Do you know what that is, Matt?
Halo 3?
Nope. It's Kinect Adventures.
Oh, wow.
It is the best-selling Xbox 360 game. Vincent knew what it was. It's the best-selling Xbox 360 game of all time. It sold 24 million units.
Wow.
And apparently none of you guys played it enough to have the audio embedded into your brains.
You out-casualed us.
Yeah, I guess I did. Yep. All right, that's going to do it for GameFace episode 483 right here on Sifted at sifted.net. A reminder that if you want to support us, please head on over to patreon.com/sifted. That's SIFTD. If you're listening to the audio version of this show, for $5 a month, you get all our content early and really early compared to a lot of other gaming Patreons. You can pledge whatever you want there, even $1. No matter what you give us, it's awesome, and we appreciate people so much for doing that. If you don't have any money, that's cool. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you can give us free money every month. You give us a free $2.50 with Amazon Prime. Is what we talk about on the show all the time. If you're watching on YouTube, go down below. There's step-by-step instructions that explain that. Once you've linked your accounts, it takes 3 seconds to give us $2.50 every month, and you do have to re-up it, and that is a pain. But man, it makes a world of difference for us. So if you're watching this right now and you haven't gone and done it for a while, please go do it. It really makes a difference for us. It changes everything for us. So we'd really appreciate it if you can do that. And if you can't do that either, you're not an Amazon Prime subscriber, you can still help us out. Just like the show, comment on the show, share the show, like the show, ring the bell, all that stuff. It all really does make a difference. Reviewing the show on a podcast service makes a huge difference. Give us a review on Spotify right now. That would be awesome if you're listening to the show on Spotify. Everything makes a difference, and we appreciate everything. So first up, next week's show is not going to be on Tuesday because that would be like 4 days from now, and there's no way we're going to be able to prepare for that. And we're still figuring it out whether it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday. But keep an eye on our account on Twitter or our account on Blue Sky, and we'll be sure to message that. If you're on Sifted all the time, I'll message it. You'll see it there. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who checked out Sifted during E3 week. I appreciate it. It was great to have so many people on the site, so many comments, so many great conversations going on. And again, everybody acting like civil adults and not going after each other. There's no other place like it on the internet, man. If you're sick of all the crap you're seeing down below on YouTube, man, go to sifted.net. What are you waiting for? I don't get it. Go over there. So anyway, thank you, Matt, for another E3. It's awesome to 20 E3s we've done together.
Something like that.
We're quite a tandem, brother. There's just no doubt about it. 50 plus years of experience between Matt and I covering video games here. You won't find that anywhere else on a two-man podcast. You just won't. So thanks to everybody for everything this week. It really was awesome having the site really going full bore with comments and just the community going off. It was awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed Not E3 Summer Game Fest as much as we did. Have yourselves a great week filled with great games. GameFace is up and out.